Sam Hyde's last interview was embarrassing, but this one is straight up disgraceful. Now he's taking the helm of the interview and he's actually platforming Nick Fuentes of all people. It's going to be disgusting. Just the kind of things that he says about teenage girls, about hating women. Just wait for it. But first, we're going to have to minimize the viewing a little bit because Sam Hyde is known for flagging. He's done it before to other people. So we're going to play RimWorld in the background. We're just going to bring this a little bit down here. All right, let's get into it.
Looks like we might have to do another show.
This young man who's with us is the recipient of the J. Albert Bean Libertarian Young Creative Thinkers Award. Guys, we're very excited to have Nick Fuentes with us in the house. Nick, how you been?
I'm good, yeah, great to be with you.
Excellent. Is the fucking air conditioning on for a reason?
I like how Sam is trying to relate to Nick a little bit by wearing something gay. It's the only way that you can really make the kid relate and feel comfortable. Usually he adorns this garb in order to make fun of his guest, but today it's in order to be on equal footing with Nick here.
Let's actually make it louder. Let's make it louder in post.
We are Ronald McDonald.
Our allegiance is to truth and justice.
N-word thinking.
You are now banned from the computer.
From a FEMA fridge full of cursed condiments. The only broadcast still operating under the 1983 Emergency Continuity Act. This.
I can't lie, Sam Hyde's aesthetics really are good. He has an eye for that kind of thing. Things look very nice.
Is the Sam Hyde Show. Tonight, don't watch in the school computer lab. It's Nick Fuentes.
The Sam Hyde Show.
This episode is brought to you by Hale. Is that the actual brand name? The microphone cradle is by Hale?
Heil.
Heil what?
It's just Heil.
It's never just Heil. We know this. It's never just a simple Heil. Guys,
Right off the bat, childish Hitler worship. Come on. Does every single interview have to surround around Hitler and the Jews? I mean, I'm sure you have a broader platform than that. There are plenty of values that like a nationalist American can take. Perhaps family values or respecting your country and your environment. I don't know. Let's see where he goes with this.
back to the Sam Hyde Show. Very proud to present Nick Fuentes. Fresh off his Candace Owens interview. That was fun.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun.
I had to stop listening at about an hour because she was yapping so much.
Yeah, it's really more like
I actually haven't watched the Candace Owens interview yet, but everything that I've seen from it is that Nick got just felted. He did not recover properly from the Candace Owens interview. He looked like a fool, real sad, but I don't know for certain. I didn't watch it, like I said. And it's pitiful that Sam Hyde's first excuse is that she was just yapping. This woman is talking too much. That's disgusting.
an interrogation.
She was coming after. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know what her problem is. It's another narcissistic black woman, pretty typical.
Come on, Candace. What's going on over there, buddy? So what's going on in the world, man? What's new with you?
I mean, we got the war with Iran. We have the Epstein files.
I've heard from some pretty high-up sources that this might be million-dimensional chess. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, Trump has not lost cat turd yet, so I think there still might be a chance.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is an epic crash out. I think it's over. This is Zognald Blumpf and the final stand. I'm afraid of what's going to happen next. I think he's going to turn the cannons on us now.
This is a really strong start, not going to lie. It really does... he is in line with the current zeitgeist of a lot of young Americans, that they just don't trust Donald Trump because of very obvious connections he has in politics. I mean, just look at his wife, right? And his handling of the Epstein files is disgusting. It makes sense. So he's putting his best foot forward. And one thing you got to say about Nick Fuentes is that he is a convincing actor. He really does, if not believes what he says, it sounds like he believes what he says. And I don't know. He's always been back and forth on the Trump thing, so I can't fully trust him on what he says, but he is honestly correct right now.
You think Trump's going to go after the alt-right?
I do. I think it's over. I think it's been over.
The entire...
That's so weird because right now you have a public platform on YouTube. It was over in like 2016 when you were pure controlled opposition and your bank accounts were taken away from you and your flight access was taken away from you. It's not over. This is a new beginning for you. And it's disgusting to see. You know, you have to be in cahoots with somebody in order to maintain this relevancy. It's weird how these topics are all of a sudden just mainstream public topics. Have too many people really had these rumblings in their mind to where it just can't be quelled anymore? And if that's the case, why are you the poster boy of that movement? You're disgusting.
Our world is sexually blackmailed by Mossad. Do mainstream people know this?
I think so. The name's Epstein, so it's kind of hard to ignore.
Regular people know about Epstein.
Well, it was absolutely blatant. You know, he goes to jail for sex trafficking, dies mysteriously. The cameras were turned off. Nobody was there. I actually just discovered this last week. Bill Barr was the attorney general when he killed himself. That means he was overseeing the federal prison that Epstein was detained in. Did you know that Bill Barr's father was the principal of the school that Jeffrey Epstein worked at in the 1970s?
Oh my God.
Jeffrey Epstein was hired by Bill Barr's dad at the Dalton School in 1974.
Josh Moon made good point on the Kiwi Farms in the Sam Hyde thread. He said that Nick Fuentes does have an eye for noticing, essentially, where he can connect the dots to certain influences in the government. And that what makes him trend on Twitter so commonly. It makes perfect sense. I mean, right now he's just being honest with certain issues, but what he's practicing is two truths and a lie. It's the same thing that Alex Jones does, or even Sam Hyde. If you believe someone enough, you can be convinced that everything he says is true. You know, I understand it. I work in sales. You can slip in a lie and then just make it convincing enough. Because especially if you're already holding yourself up as a point of authority and people are respecting what you're saying, then it's okay to slip in these little things and just maintain narrative. And you'll see the little things that he slips in, which are just repugnant. Just wait for Sam Hyde to make remarks about teenage girls, especially when the Markey drama is coming back into light. It's really not a good look.
And then his son, Bill Barr, oversaw the detention facility that he died at. So it's just beyond parody. And it became a meme. You know, Epstein didn't kill himself. The meme should have been the Jews killed Epstein to keep him shut, you know, because it's like, well, who killed him then? It just does to show you get one side or the other. If you get the left, you get George Soros. If you get the right, you get Jeff Epstein in Israel. So
It's nice how that story came full circle, though. It's a generational thing. We were talking about people in the CIA, some of them wanting to push war with China. Why would people want this? Why is it like a thing that anybody would push for?
You have three real countries in the Middle East. You have Turkey, Egypt, and Iran. Everything else is basically a construct. Everything else is fake. Egypt and Turkey have been pro-Israel for 50 and 80 years each.
All right, this portion of the interview was aired on YouTube. It's honestly not very disagreeable, essentially. Nick Fuentes is going to make a few good points around here, but I don't really want to get into whether or not we should declare war on Iran or China. It doesn't really seem like that big of a deal to matter about. We need to focus more locally in our country. And I understand what he's doing. He's trying to take an anti-war approach because that's the same thing that most fascists did on their rise. Just look at Mussolini. But it's not really convincing, honestly, especially when he has very obvious takes elsewhere. This is just a way to make him look more digestible to a conventional YouTube audience.
Iran's the only major country that still opposes them in the region. So the Jews want a war with Iran because that's basically the last opponent. China, for obvious reasons.
That sounds kind of badass.
It is.
I got chills when you said they're the last opponent. Made me think I was watching some badass.
I'm surprised that Sam Hyde hasn't done any pushback or tried to fight him on anything at all. It's been nothing but capitulation, nothing but good talks and pleasantries. He hasn't pushed heat, and Sam Hyde won't bring any heat at all to this interview. It's going to be just dick sucking, platform writing, and just making stupid humor in order to help lighten up Nick's awkwardness and inability to maintain natural conversation with a real human being.
It's an action movie.
So that's why they want a war with Iran. They want a war with China. Elements in the U.S. want that because they're going to be the next great competitor. They're going to be the next great power competitor. But I don't mind them, actually. I think the Chinese are all right.
I'm just thinking, what would you need? Would you need to go
That's a pretty crazy statement. I don't think the Chinese are all right, but whatever, Nick. Okay.
to war with somebody if they're going to be a competitor?
No, not necessarily.
Does it necessitate bombing and going to war? I'm just thinking what many great leaders have thought for thousands of years, Ryan.
When are you not thinking like many great leaders?
Indeed. Anyway.
I wonder if Nick is comfortable when he hears the latex squinched together. Is this a common sound for him? Because he really is leering over at Sam. I think he enjoys the appearance.
It's a shame that it
It's a real boy band look.
crackles when you're just doing your most comfortable movements.
Well, I have to break it in here. I don't have time to break it in when I'm not on the show.
Is that regular leather?
This is Indian goat leather for real.
Okay.
We're doing an ad read, right? Yes. Let's start this ad read right.
We're going to go through the ad read. I know it's stupid. This is a really just mean ad read, honestly. But when you look at the company, if you go on their website, the first thing you see is a Wojak in a military garb. It's a weird product. What Stiff Lip is caffeine pouches, like the nicotine pouches ends. You put it in, it's got 300 milligrams of caffeine, which is kind of crazy. But let's watch the advert.
With a little copyright-free music. What's up, YouTube? Today we're promoting a great product. Thanks for this royalty-free music. All right, let's see what guests we have to appease today. They didn't fire us? Guys, I tell...
It's kind of crazy how he started an advert 4 minutes into his show. That's obscene. And this made the YouTube cut too. He really wants to promote this, which is weird when he takes such a nonchalant advertisement. I mean, I guess he's not in a point of desperation. The guy has money, but I don't know. This is kind of just a stupid advert. If you're going to just shit on the advertiser so much, why would they ever take you? Just look at Mersh. What happens when he throws down the advertisement reading and just goes off the cuff? You get banned for that kind of behavior, dude. And I'm not saying you should by any means, but it's just a stupid advertisement. Why would you even take it if you don't care? Really, that's the issue.
Everybody that I'm associated, did they pay for the premium video package? No? Okay. Run it on the B cam there. I tell everybody I'm associated with, take as much as you can of Stiff Lip socks. I mean sucks. When I want to be healthy and...
Sam Hyde is disgusting. I really don't understand his form of comedy, really. His off-the-cuff humor is just about making people uncomfortable, being gross, and then laughing at his own jokes. Which I guess if you're just a social outcast, that is the peak of comedy, but it's never really done it for me.
Protect my heart. I pack my lip with 300 milligrams of caffeine! That's, in my opinion, a normal amount of caffeine that everybody needs for their daily vitamins. It's simple science. Let me show you on the whiteboard. Here at Stiff Lips, do we even have any of their crap? We don't. We ran out of. Hold on, let's get good audio here. Now, we've run out of Stiff Lips sups because they're so effective, so efficacious, scientifically backed, clinically studied and proven that we use them all the time. Oh my God, that's sacrilegious. And they put God in lowercase. This is a slight morale improvement that is trademarked. I'm not even. It's one of those things where there's no way out. There's no way to make it funny or interesting. There's no way to come out.
Just do it on your own then. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, I get it. Marketers kind of suck. They're not really with it with the young, hip 4chan crowd that just wants to see you be aggressive. Do it yourself, man. I don't know. If you want some of these gamer subs, get 10% off with the sponsor code SAM.
On top with this ad. Stiff Lip Sups. Stiff Lip Sups. Was the military hard? Aww. Did your friend die? Oh, no. You better get some energy. I was over in Iraq.
Okay, this is going to be the start of a bit that he's going to do throughout the show. He's going to shit on the military. And now you can make certain claims that, you know, they're fighting against American interests. You could believe that they're being hired by foreign agents in order to commit wars in the Middle East that no one else wants except a specific group of people. Yes, those are all like valid claims that you could talk about. Why are you going to shit on the individual guy who got his legs blown off? I mean, it doesn't really make much sense to be such a dickhead to a dumb soldier. If you're going to believe that he's just a grunt, I don't know, man. Why would you be such a dick to him? Why are you acting like one of the hippies from the 70s or the 60s? You're going to like start free Palestine movements and spit on our veterans? I don't know, man. I mean, those people, if we're just going to look at HH himself, you know, just look at how close-knit he was with military veterans, how important it is to have like a strong guard of people who are actually militant and aggressive and knowledgeable in strategy and diplomacy, you know. I mean, Hitler himself was a veteran. It doesn't make much sense to not want that kind of guy on your side.
Mosul. I used the SIG 441. That gun, people are saying now that it's got automated discharge. That's because of improper handling techniques. I use a SIG 441 all the time. Freeze! That's my friend. I almost shot my friend at the range. So I couldn't take the edge. Couldn't take it anymore. Fireworks, 4th of July. Bang! Oh, is there a dog barking? Help! 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 I'm a troop! I'm a troop! I'm a troop! Stiff Lip Sups is gonna get you back on top. Your lady cheated on you? They all do! Welcome to the party, pal! Guys, promo.
What a strong conservative movement. Shit on the troops and then say that all women cheat on you. That's retarded. You can't have that kind of rhetoric in a proper conservative movement. I mean, if you want to develop your culture and maintain it forever, you're going to have to love women and develop families. You need to have big families in order to preserve your culture. All right? There are no other options. You can't do it alone as an incel. And Nick Fuentes is going to make this point much later in a section that didn't make the YouTube cut, where he's going to promote like the children who follow Nick Fuentes to become celibate monks and focus on the America First movement rather than developing families, which is so backwards. You can't create culture alone with just a group of gay boys. It's not going to work out.
Code Sam for 10% off all orders. Stifflipsups.com. I'll see you there because I'm buying it.
I might put it back on later.
Just throw it
On
over
top
the
of the blazer.
shoulders.
Atop the blazer, yeah.
Tie it around the waist like Raven.
Around the waist.
The fuck are these? Whose are these?
Oh, nice.
I bought
Found
those
them.
at a gas station. So they're the world's.
You like buying stuff at gas stations?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I always think it's fun. So we're on the road a lot. They always have knives and crazy cool shit you can just flip around and throw. I got in Arizona, an alien Area 51 driver's license, but
I don't actually believe that at all. Is Sam Hyde really the wasteful consumerist type who buys gay shit at a gas station? Probably not. He's just trying to make Nick not look so much like a loser. Like, who actually buys stupid gas station trinkets? You know, this guy probably gets the hot dogs and the Slurpees down at the 7-Eleven. It's disgusting behavior.
It was like irregularly long, so it didn't fit in the card slot. So I had to make a special exception and put it where the money goes, in the wallet. So now I just have this extra card in my wallet that's like Area 51 alien. It's like I'm an alien. So the cop pulls me over and I say, "Here you go, officer. I'm a fucking alien." All right?
I posited that maybe it's a different shape because like it's from outer space. It's not the standard card shape. It's
They use
from a
different.
different.
Yeah, they still.
It's a
there's-
Mercurian standard.
They're still with rectangles. They're still fine with rectangles, but it's different specs. Yeah, exactly. So listen, my viewers are not as educated as your viewers. All right, we need to know what else is going on. So the U.S. we want.
That's disgusting. To say that Nick Fuentes' audience is educated, have you ever seen them on Twitter? If you ever talk bad about Nick Fuentes, you're gonna get pelted with a bunch of nonsense from them, from just the lowest IQ dregs, incel losers imaginable. And even worse than that, they have a secret inner community that is just filled with pedophiles who spread lolicon with each other. They're not like an educated group of people. And to say that Sam Hyde's audience is on an even lower plane than that is kind of believable when Sam Hyde's audience is the fish tank audience, to be fair. Those people are dregs as well. But at least that's more like television idiocy rather than a group of malicious incel idiots. But Sam Hyde really should not be upping Nick Fuentes so much. Right at the start, too. This is the start of the interview. It's only 10 minutes in, and we're actually going to start talking about things. The YouTube cut was only 40 minutes long and held one advertisement and a fake advertisement. They can't get a second one because they spent their first one just shitting on the troops, women, and then the advertiser. So take what you can get, I guess.
War with Iran because they're the last opponent. That sounds badass. Okay, I'm going to give the devil his due here. We want war with China because they're a possible competitor.
Well, they just did the big, beautiful bill. That just got through Congress. They're cutting the corporate tax rate again, extending the corporate tax cut, and to pay for it, they're cutting Medicaid by $900 billion, which I think is like great politics. You know, taking away healthcare to pay for corporate tax cuts is a real winner.
That's funny, yeah.
Well, and it's like, this is just so classic. Every year, people vote for fewer immigrants. People vote because we hate seeing like Venezuelans peddling candy bars on the street. And every year we just get tax cuts. We get a corporate tax cut and like $1 trillion defense budget and more wars for.
Knowing what Nick did on January 6th, telling his supporters to disregard the ropes and disregard the police, it's disgusting hearing him say these. It's like, you know, I don't disagree with him. Honestly, he's not saying anything wrong right here. But you can't have this guy saying these on your side at all. It's just going to be, it's controlled opposition, honestly, is what it is. It looks disgusting when you have this gay man who associates with pedophiles on your side, taking your talking points. Just because he's a well-spoken young man, he's able to sway a group of people. It's repugnant, honestly. This behavior is not acceptable.
For Israel. So that's basically what was in the bill. And well, here's the best part. They allocated $150 billion for ICE and deportations and for the border. And then the same day that the bill passed, Trump got into a rally and said, we're not going to do mass deportations anymore. So,
Beautiful.
well, what's the money for then? And then they told us the week later, the deportations are now for citizens that criticize Israel. That's the new memo from the DOJ. They're going to revoke citizenship of people that criticize Israel and then deport them to Libya and Africa.
I remember when they were deporting people for being pro-Palestine, people on, was it student visas?
Yep.
So people who were...
To be fair, though, we need them out as with any way possible. I don't really see how this is too much more of an issue. Oh, they're real naturalized citizens? Whatever. It's such a double think position. We hate immigrants. We want to get them out of the country, except in these weird illicit means. We can't go behind the government's back and do these subversive tactics. I mean, dude, what would you do if you were the actual president of the United States? Don't lie to me about your position. Come on.
Listen, we don't want Arabs in this country, but they were in this country legally here to study, and they were being deported because they were critical of Israel.
I don't know why you would be for this situation. You're gonna shit. Your last video was education sucks. Okay? You already know there's issues with bringing in foreign students in order to take our knowledge and then go back to their country and enrich their countries. It's not a smart thing to do, to be such an open society in that way, because it doesn't benefit our nation. They're stealing our knowledge and then reappropriating it for their own benefit. Okay? And you know this. I mean, you're just making up this bullshit on the spot in order to try to bolster Nick Fuentes' position. And perhaps your dumbass audience, who may actually be dumber than Nick's audience, will eat it all up. But this is obviously not good for anybody. This is doublethink.
And I saw a lot of people on the right sort of cheering that, like they didn't understand why that might be a bad thing. So what, they're going to deport who now?
Citizens. They're revoking the citizenship.
How does that work? What does that mean?
So if you're a naturalized citizen, meaning you attain it after you're born in another country, you come here, get your citizenship, they say the top 5 priorities of the DOJ this year will be revoking naturalized citizenship from anybody that is a threat to Israel or criticizes Israel.
Holy shit.
That's the new move.
Do you think that Rosie O'Donnell's a test run for a straight up citizen? She was born in America.
She was.
And Trump was saying that, like, it's probably like the test subject. If everybody hates Rosie, so we're going to deport her, and then everybody's going to be like, yeah. And then now you've opened that door to make that possible, and then we're gone.
Did they deport Rosie?
Not yet.
He said we should look into it. He said we're going to look into it very strongly. You know, it's kind of funny because people are voting for tyranny. You know, people are voting for like mass deportations, going door to door.
Dude, you're a white nationalist. Okay? I mean, you don't want to have democracy as an option. And there is no alternative to democracy other than tyranny. Just look at, I mean, whether you want to be like a feudalist, a fascist, or a communist, it doesn't matter. If there isn't like the inability to vote amongst the people, then you're abandoning the, what were they, the French Enlightenment ideals. It's just stupid. I mean, you're completely bullshitting me when you say that you're voting for tyranny and you're against that. You want to be the tyrannical force. All right? Stop lying about that. I think I would like him more if he was just more open and honest, saying that I want to be the regime change, or at least have a person who he wants to put in the regime change. That isn't Ye. I mean, not Kanye. That doesn't make any sense.
arresting people, going after the media, but we're just getting like Jewish tyranny. We're getting that, but like for Israel. We're like deporting people that criticize Israel, going to war for Israel, deporting people that hate Israel, shutting down Harvard because they hate Israel, and it's like, we just kind of got the wrong flavor. So it's like right idea, just directionally not pointed at the right thing here.
They got to know what they're doing, though, because they're attracting all that attention to, this anti-Israel hate. They've got to understand that it's going to come full circle, and people are going to be like, wait a minute, maybe not liking Israel is super justified, right? Like, that's going to bite them in the butt.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just going to kill us all.
Okay, interesting.
Peter Thiel has like an enemies list of like 2 million people in Palantir.
Yeah.
And Palantir came in on the heels of Doge. Elon Musk brought Doge in to every department, to the IRS, the Treasury Department, education, the rest.
What a worthless point of fear mongering. You're being broadcasted on every single end of the internet. I bet you're going to be on TV by the end of the year. They're trying to bring you back into mainstream politics. And you're going to scream, they're killing me, they're deplatforming me at your peak? Dude, you deplatformed everybody who was your right-hand guy and what was it, cozy.tv? Whatever happened to all those guys? No one here is being deplatformed. They're not trying to kill you. You controlled opposition. You know this, and it's so dishonest. It's so disgusting.
Of it. And everyone that worked in Doge had also worked for Palantir. And so when Doge left, the Palantir people stayed. And what they're doing now is they're creating a master database that has your education records, health records, tax records, the Treasury Department's records. And they're going to be in one giant searchable database for this administration with a $150 billion budget for ICE that wants to take citizenship from people that criticize Israel. And that's what people voted for when they voted for Trump.
What is Palantir? Can you explain what this is a little bit?
Palantir is a CIA cutout. So in 2001, after 9/11, they created this, it's basically artificial intelligence or an algorithm to interpret these vast amounts of data. The intelligence community takes all this massive amounts of data.
I really can't wait till we get out of the YouTube cut, because I think the YouTube cut stops around like 59 minutes here. Oh man, because all of this is pretty milquetoast. It's very mild. Nick Fuentes doesn't say anything particularly extreme. It's just Sam Hyde with the outburst saying that he hates the troops and hates women. It's disgusting behavior. But the real thing starts after 59 minutes, I believe. We're still going through the whole thing though, but it's going to be a slog until then. I mean, there's not really many objections. Nick isn't going to say anything too controversial here because this is broadcasted on a very public platform with the intention of being seen by hundreds of thousands of people.
Emails, phone calls, text messages. Palantir interprets all of it into insights that are usable by law enforcement. And so in 2001, after 9/11, they took what was a CIA program and they just effectively privatized it to bypass the Constitution. Constitution protects people's privacy, but a private company doesn't have to play by the same rules.
So 2001, you're saying that the CIA was spying on people and collecting all this data, and then to get around public oversight, they sort of transferred this into a private company?
Right. So Palantir is a firm that creates usable insights based on vast amounts of data. It's a private entity to circumvent the Constitution. They're founded in 2001. Until 2008, they only worked for the CIA. And the CIA actually provided startup money through their venture capital arm, In-Q-Tel. So they provided all the money for it, and they created all the products. So Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Joe Lonsdale, they were at Langley, Virginia, at the CIA headquarters making everything for the...
It's informative. Honestly, I couldn't recall all this off the top of my head. Nick Fuentes is able to absorb a lot of information and relay it in a very convincing manner. That's undeniable. That's why he's maintained his position for so long. But we can never forget. We can never forget the disgusting behavior that he has ever exhibited. All right? We cannot let this kind of guy take hold and root in alternative right politics. Otherwise, that's the death of the nation. Honestly, what is the point of conservative politics if you're fighting for your right to be surrounded by youth boys? Okay, if you know what I mean.
CIA as a so-called contractor. And then after that, they branched out into everything. So they identified the Capitol rioters on January 6th. They were identifying who wasn't vaccinated in 2021.
What were they doing with people that weren't vaccinated?
Just to identify contact tracing who had COVID and who was spreading it to everybody using Bluetooth, and then identifying then who wasn't vaccinated for the purpose of these vaccine passports. You know, in states like New York or in New York City, they wouldn't let people into restaurants if they didn't have the vaccine. So this was going to be like, they wanted to identify everybody that didn't have the card.
Yeah.
Using Bluetooth, you said?
That's for identifying who has COVID.
Interesting.
Because if you got COVID and you tested positive, they would look at your phone, and your phone has Bluetooth, and they'd see all the other phones that touched it. So they can identify everybody that might have COVID. That's the contact tracing. It's basically just like what Ted Kaczynski warned about. This is the classic panopticon surveillance state. And so Palantir was found.
Don't bring up Uncle Ted. Come on. That's a disgrace on his name. You live inside on the internet. You broadcast yourself on a self-hosted media network. You used to run a broadcasting station on the internet called cozy.tv. If you really cared about Uncle Ted's message, you'd be doing this through ham radio connection. What are you doing?
Founded by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel funds all the new right projects. You know, in 2022, he was the single largest individual donor in the cycle. So he put $30 million behind J.D. Vance, Blake Masters.
Why does he look greasy?
Well, he's a gay man. I think that has a lot to do with it. So,
There's a certain amount of grease.
Very insightful. In a lot of screenshots I see out of Nick all the time, he's just fat and greasy because he dines on McDonald's. He sits ascetically in his house waiting for DoorDash to bring it to him, and he gets fucked in the ass like a gay man. That's why he looks so greasy.
That comes along with the lifestyle.
Yeah, a lot of lubricant, a lot of lubricating.
Why is it all over
friction.
his face when he's doing public appearances?
Peter Thiel has funded Sovereign House, Passage Press, Bronze Age Pervert, Claremont Institute, and then, of course, our vice president, J.D. Vance, was his protege for his entire career. So Vance is Peter Thiel's guy on.
I get it, okay? There are think tanks that fund these subversive political narratives in order to push an idea. I wonder who's funding you. I would love to see your accounting records. I'd love to see the books because I think that the same thing is going on. And it's just suspect that you, of all people, the most deplatformed man in the world, is coming onto an open public platform, YouTube, in order to talk about subversive narratives. I don't see how people are still falling for this. It's retarded. It's disgusting.
The inside.
Where does Thiel come from? Was he around in 2001?
He was.
And
he came from PayPal.
What was he doing?
So he had just around that time created PayPal with Elon Musk.
At that point, when they're doing PayPal, is this something that's linked to intelligence yet, or is he sort of solo?
Most likely, yes. Because of the nature of what PayPal is, which is a peer-to-peer payment system. So it's deeply in touch with the financial industry and state regulations. The real connection to intelligence is that he comes from Stanford University. That was his origin story. He founded the Stanford Review at Stanford University with money from Irving Kristol.
What's that, like the school paper?
Yes.
Who's Irving Kristol?
Irving Kristol's the godfather of neoconservatism. So he invented the neocons. He's a Jew, former communist who became a conservative after the Soviet Union backed Israel's enemies.
Peter Thiel, I almost said Peter Steele. He should change his name. He started the school newspaper with money from the godfather of neoconservatism?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
So he takes money from Irving Kristol to start this paper. And you have to understand that, like, where all...
God, I'm really considering it, just skipping forward. I mean, there's not really much to say, honestly. Yeah, let's skip forward to 30 minutes in.
Pizza reviews they should get into.
Yeah.
And so that's how they get groomed. And then, they go from a student newspaper to a local newspaper to Fox News, and then they're a household name. Then they're the big Fox News name.
Was your point of contact, like you're sort of like the vampire that changes you, was that Cassie Dillon?
Yes.
That's literally she converted to Judaism afterwards.
I looked her up, by the way. She's ugly.
Is she ugly?
Yes.
She's not hot.
You could pull up a picture.
Which made me upset.
Sure.
Who said the thing about the price of a man's soul being so low?
I don't know, Sam. You're kind of one to be complaining about someone's appearance. You always look bloated and puffy. It's a weird mix of cocaine and tren that's just keeping you fat in the face. And if you're going to talk about someone being greasy, I can actually see on your forehead the shine from your studio lights. You have a layer of grease on you right now. What does that got to say about you? Did Nick Fuentes spend the night?
Oh, It's like, it's not that everybody has a price, it's that most people's price is so low.
Ouch. Yeah.
It's also the case that the bitches they hook these guys up with are butt ugly.
That's the price.
Yeah, that's the prize. That's what they get, but they're not hot.
That is sad.
Is she genetically Jewish?
No, she converted.
Why is her face all fucked up then? Converted from what? Ugly bitch? If a beat bitch came to me and texted me saying you got to change your opinions, I'd say, bitch, get surgery. Now, Cassie Dillon, she might have great is that her appeal? I don't know how this stuff works. Is it just that the so good it offsets the ugliness? Anyway, I don't know. Listen, I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers here. I just know this bitch is beat.
That's her.
She's good.
She doesn't really look that bad. Really? She looks just like a normal girl. Why do you gotta shit on every single chick you see? Do you just hate women in general? Sam, come on. You can't actually just pull up a photo of her immediately after shitting on her for being ugly. She's a normal looking girl. I mean, how old is she? She's probably in her 30s. She looks very good. It's not that big of a deal.
Very good looking.
Yeah. She was cuter when she was younger.
Bitch.
Yeah, look at her there.
Some genetic.
She looks shrill.
No, she doesn't look shrill. She's got a cute button chin. She's got those nice laugh lines. I guess it's kind of rude. They're not really laugh lines, but she has a nice cheek development to where she's got a cute roundness to her. I don't know. I feel kind of weird judging her face, but it's just strange that you had to just shit on a random girl. Why do you hate women so much? It's not necessary.
And she looks like she's ready to terrorize a man.
Wrong star on the sweatshirt there.
When you were coming up, you had hot opinions, and people were looking at you and saying, this kid's hot. And you get paired up with this chick to sort of show you the ropes and kind of introduce you to the world of whatever the fuck leads to being on Fox News, whatever. And you start questioning basically Jewish stuff, and she starts texting you stuff. You can't talk about this. We're gonna excise you from the friend group. These types of texts to let you know that you're on dangerous ground.
Yeah, I think she tried to fuck me too. I think it was like a honeypot situation. The first thing she asked me when I met her is if I would ever fly to Israel. That was her. It could not be less subtle.
Yeah, fly to Israel to fuck. That's the one key weakness. They got to get better looking bitches.
Better
over
looking
here.
ingredients.
Better pizza. Papa John's.
She really fumbled the ball hard.
Oh, yeah.
She came out the gates, you want to go to Israel, came on real strong, and then she has to report back to whoever and be like, I think I accidentally created Nick Fuentes. Oops.
She was so ugly, she created Nick Fuentes.
I don't even know what to say about that. It's unnecessary to just be insulting this woman so much. I don't know, man. She doesn't really look that bad. Even if she did, you really shouldn't be shitting on. It's disgusting behavior. We need women in the movement, all right? We can't just be a movement of gay young boys. It's not gonna work.
Was she the only one? Did they send more? Did they? Let's try this one.
I think there were more after, but it was mainly she was the main one, and yeah, I mean, honestly, it was actually that simple. She just wasn't that hot.
It's like Charlie's Angels. If they don't get you with that one, they send a black one, then they send a Chinese one. They send a bunch of different flavors to see if they can get you.
They send Charlie in?
Well, it's Epstein is the guy.
Right.
And then the last one is they get you on the plane with the kids.
And then they become the agents. Peter Thiel, for example, he starts the Stanford Review at Stanford. And if you look, it's crazy. Stanford Review is like a who's who of defense contractors, which you wouldn't think. It's supposed to be like a polemical, conservative college newspaper, but it's a who's who of drone developers, like all these people that are making weapons for the Department of Defense, like Joe Lonsdale, who then went on to work with Peter Thiel. And so Peter Thiel, he writes this book about the diversity myth in 1995. He writes a number of other publications, and then he goes on to work for the CIA full-time doing Palantir. Then he goes into a full-time intelligence defense contractor position.
Nick's breakdown on Palantir is probably not inaccurate. I'm not going to fight it at all. If you really want to watch it, it's about 15 minutes long. Nick is an educated man. He really does know what he's talking about. So it's okay to be on the same position as him for a lot of things. But it's a real tough. There's a reason why they make the catboy Mexican leader of the white race so public right now in right-wing politics. He's the figurehead of the alt-right. Every single time they want to pull back the curtains a little bit. Not really the curtains, but I guess have a boogeyman to describe as the most evil right-wing conservative, so it discredits everyone else who has similar opinions where he's correct on. I don't know, I feel kind of dumb for breaking it down like that, but we just gotta. I don't want to get copyright struck on this. I do actually fear that Sam will take this one down, honestly. So we're going to keep going through it. I'm going to have to pause occasionally just for the purposes of it.
And now they're collecting all the data on people that criticize Israel for the government.
That Alex Karp guy, he said that his greatest fear is that the alt-right, his greatest fear is the alt-right. Mm-hmm. That's not good.
Yeah, and specifically he said his greatest fear is that Christian nationalists will take power and then throw him out of a window, specifically for being Jewish.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's our guy.
What do you think about these Indians?
Not a fan. I was going to go with it as Usha Vance, J.D. Vance's wife, is Indian. Mm-hmm. You have like half of Twitter like hates Indians, and then they're also extremely pro-Vance, and his kids are dressed like Indians in India. Mm-hmm. His first son's name is Vivek, and he went to college with Vivek.
What Twitter is this guy browsing? I don't really see many people who are pro-Vance, honestly. I just see baby Vance memes whenever I do hear about him.
You can't write this shit.
No, it's like the Bill Barr, the Epstein thing, this shit. The segue was like Thiel to Vance to Usha and Vivek.
That sounds like one of the, what's the Upanishads? It sounds like something out of one of those ancient books.
It does have a sort of, ancient ring to it.
It's frightening to me. Especially that ancient Indian stuff. That's like
because modern Indian's frightening as is. You go back into the murky depths of time.
It only gets murkier.
Yeah,
from
the
here.
anglerfish of Indian existence down there somewhere.
It doesn't get more clear. The waters get muddier the deeper you go.
Sure do.
On that one. Do you play games, Nick?
I do, yeah.
What do you play?
I'm basic. I just play like Fortnite, and I play map games. I play Civ 5.
I actually really don't believe this guy games at all. I mean, look at his tiny little hands. Do you think he can properly hold an Xbox controller? I mean, I don't got the biggest hands myself, but this guy does not have any dexterity. He lacks poise. He lacks mental acuity. I don't think that he has the capacity in order to actually play a first-person shooter. I would love to be proven wrong. I'd love to see a little bit of Nick gameplay, but really he's just trying to connect with a loser incel crowd of children, man-children specifically, who still play video games in their mid-20s, who reside on the internet. All right, this is a connection bit. This isn't real. Nick doesn't game. He's a nerd. He reads.
Call of War.
That's cool. I love Civilization. What society do you pick?
Oh, Rome. Rome every time.
You go with Rome every time? I go with the Uzbeks. Now, I usually look to see who has the...
Sam is not really funny. He has to have a crowd laugh for him. I don't know. It reminds me of when you say a dumb joke on a date and and the girl just giggles because she likes you. That's what Sam's crew is. They all just really are desperate for his money and influence, so they're able to giggle at anything he says. Pure yes men behavior. Oh, my favorite civilization is the Uzbeks.
The biggest advantage, and then go with that. But I think, you know what Civilization is?
Nope.
It's this game where you pick your civilization from all the civilizations that have ever existed, and you start a little like sim nation, it's a sim game.
Okay.
But the advantage is like if you pick an African, it's like you get higher birth rate. I don't think they have anything like that in there. I'm sure they're smart enough to not do that, but each civilization has an advantage. Right. I wonder if there are any of them that are funny, like Africans with high birth rate.
India has a funny one. It's
Does
like
it?
the population can be really big and unhappiness is really low.
Oh, yeah,
They dwell with like billions of people
Hell
and shit and
yeah.
piss.
It's like hard mode.
They can
They don't
tolerate
care.
anything.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
People would say that's weird that there's no Jewish option, but you as the player are because you're controlling everything.
Is there an Israeli civilization?
There isn't, no.
That would make me sick if I fired up a civilization.
If you get far enough as a Brit, you then create the state of Israel. Yeah, that's how you win the game.
It's one of the world wonders, is creating Israel.
My big thing is I'm just soaking in the failure of this administration. Every successive failure of Trump is just like...
You float with the wind, okay? You've been back and forth on the Trump situation the entire time. You either love him or you hate him. Whatever your handlers want you to say and that has the most negative impact on, I don't know, alternative conservative politics, I guess. But you are not consistent on this issue at all. And yes, I get it. The Trump administration is not holding up to the standards that people really want. But it's not that, I don't know, man. I hate that you're the figurehead of this. And you're going to get bigger. I already know. It's a disgusting thing.
That has been my source of enjoyment for the past 5 months.
What are the failures?
The discussion about amnesty for illegal farmers.
What's his stance here on amnesty?
So, last year they're promising mass deportation.
I agree. We should not make exceptions for farmers in particular, because a lot of these farms in the Midwest are just creating corn, and they make it with government subsidy, and they pay illegals, so they're double dipping on government money. They're underpaying like a slave class of laborers and stealing from the government, us taxpayers in the process, in order to poison us by diluting our gasoline, injecting it with ethanol, or giving us corn syrup or corn oils. It's just promoting obesity, ruining our gas. There's nothing good about allowing illegal farmers to maintain their position, because they're just in there in cornfields doing horrible, poisoning Americans. They're stealing from Americans to poison us. And the only one who benefits are large farmers.
That was the big tagline.
We didn't get that, right?
No, we're not getting it. They stopped publishing the figures.
Right.
They have not published one number for 6 months, which never happens. And so that was the big promise. And, but of course the entire year last year he had his fingers crossed behind his back. Whenever they pressed him, he would say, well, we're going to get the violent criminals out first. We'll worry about everybody else later. And so fast forward to now, they arrested 70,000 people, which is nothing in 5 months. And they're already saying, well, now we're going to strategically do mass deportations by not deporting anybody that works on a farm, in a restaurant, in a construction site, in a hotel, which is like all the migrant labor.
Yeah, it's just promoting a further divide of the slave class in order to ensure that the rich have an uneducated migrant force in order to work for them as they replace certain demographics, right? But how are you going to solve this issue? I understand that you can recognize the issue. That's impressive. That's a big step right there to begin with. But are you going to solve the issue by hating women and not developing families? No, you're focused on the American First movement, and you directly tell your crew that you should forego women in order to follow you, in order to be surrounded by pedophiles like Ali Alexander, that other guy. It's quite a large lot to be groomed. It's disgusting.
They're basically throwing in the towel 5 months in.
They're just leaving the listless ones that have nothing better to do than crime and rapes.
Yeah.
At least the other ones have I don't know, they're semi-integrated. That seems like the worst idea.
It's a total joke. So people like you and me, we were part of this big wave in 2016, which Trump obviously led. He was the nucleus of it and the center of it. And I think that the energy around him started dying off realistically almost immediately after he won the election the first time. I think he's no longer funny. He got off Twitter. He's not even based anymore. You know, I think about the things that he says. There's just not one. He's pro-Jewish. He's pro-diversity, pro-black, all these different things. And so last year, you had all these people that were really not on our side back then, people like Jack Posobiec and Mike Cernovich and a lot of these other guys, trying to meme him as like he's still spiritually what he was the first time. And to me, I just thought that was just a complete and total betrayal. It's like people like myself.
So you're going to place yourself as the figurehead of the group that hates Trump. And whenever anyone on the right tries to shit on Trump, they're just going to be compared to you. The disgusting... I don't know, man. You shouldn't be the figurehead, but what more can you say other than just the same thing over and over and over again? This guy sucks. We're skipping on this. At this point, he talks about the interview with the Hodge twins. It's whatever. I mean, they're kind of stupid. It was a decent interview, whatever. This one is about cloud seeding. This is another misdirection. There is a large tendency for the conservative party, conservative people in general, to be extremely distrustful of the government and hold a lot of conspiratorial ideals. It makes perfect sense. I mean, they're reactionaries by nature. But this is just a stupid point of rhetoric that apparently... So there's a process where they drop iron oxide into the sky from airplanes in order to promote seeding, in order to promote rain, right? It's actual climate change. It's hand-controlled climate change, essentially. And Sam Hyde is going to insinuate that there was a hurricane or a storm caused by these little airplanes. And I'm just not really convinced about that. It's kind of a silly misdirection. There's really no need to be that paranoid about science and technology. I get it, you know. We need ignorant people on our side because they're the brunt force who actually works. They're laborers. But this is really stupid and ignorant. I don't think you can't convince me that a dinky crop dusting plane is going to bring forth a storm, okay? I don't think science is magic.
The thing they're talking about with the weather modification?
Yeah.
Did you watch any of that?
No.
So do you know what cloud seeding is?
I do, yeah.
So 2 days before this fatal flood, there's a company that's seeding clouds, and now the CEO, he's like a young kid, they're bringing the CEO around to explain that his technology is not what caused the floods that killed everybody. I'm glad I don't run a weather modification company after a fatal flood. Rainmaker is the company, and he's on the what's that guy's name? Sean Ryan?
Oh, yeah, the veteran.
Are you going to go on Sean Ryan?
I don't think he's going to invite me.
He's not.
Yeah, no.
I like soldiers and troop guys who they're like the most badass.
Oh, it's a good thing that I stopped here. Here we are to go shit on the troops again. It doesn't make sense. You need grunt work groups. You need to have hardworking laborers in your party, in your front lines. And, you know, the troops are there. They can see on firsthand that they don't understand why they're sitting and waiting, doing nothing, and killing people in the Middle East. A lot of the troops that I've personally talked to are not a big fan of the current regime because they're not really, they just don't like it. You know, it makes sense. I mean, they're out there to kill other people to benefit them, to not benefit themselves or their country. And it's very obvious, especially if you're on the front lines. You can really see it. That's why the attendance for the military is so low, and we're having to conscript so many foreign allegiances. Don't shit on a veteran, okay? A lot of those guys are just trying to get they don't have options for education, so they're just trying to get their dental, their medical, and maybe like a government pension at the end of it if they can secure the position for long enough. It's really that simple. It's a job at the end of the day. You can't blame broke people for succumbing to government influence. That's literally all it is.
They've killed thousands of people, and they've had bullets whizzing over your head. If you talk to them on camera about Israel and tried to get them to commit to any type of opinion, they would turn into like pee-pee pants, poo-poo baby man. Like the toughest guy. Who's that guy, Shrek? I'll tell you, man, we were in Osama bin Laden's baseball dugout. We were in a 440 ATX. We had Razor ATVs out there. I killed everyone, and then I took their hats. Yeah. John McPhee.
Do we want to meet him or him versus Tim Kennedy?
A short of him.
What if the unit sergeant major
Have you seen this guy?
took a guy
No,
out
I've never
back,
seen him.
right out back this building right now and shot him? What would you do?
If I
Sounds
shot
like
up this building
it's
right
none of
now,
my business.
I don't know. Maybe that guy is a little cringe. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I think the issue is actually boomers. It's not that veterans are the issue, especially young vets. I mean, if you started service at 18, depending on how long you want to go with it, you can be out by like 27 and you'd still be a young guy. All right. It really isn't. I don't want to like shit on old people too much, but I think the issue that you're seeing here, and you recognize it truthfully in your heart, it's just an issue with entitled boomers. It's not an issue with veterans.
blow this whole building up.
Yeah, first off, don't think I just cakewalk through it like John Wayne in some movie. I was on the worst team ever. I thought it was brilliant. I thought every minute was priceless.
But can you imagine trying to get this guy to say anything serious about like the capture of our government by this hostile?
You have to reach people who are actually invested in your issue. In sales, if a person doesn't actually have any interest in what you're talking about to begin with, then the conversation is not going to start up at all. I mean, what does a boomer care about the subversion of their government? They don't, because they already have property, they have money, they might have a business, but they definitely have stable income and are soon going to be getting a stable government pension, either from the military service as that guy, or just Social Security in general. They have no intention in shaking up the current system because it benefits them. Duh, obviously. It's not a matter of military, okay? It's because old people really need our current regime to keep on going in full force. Otherwise, they're not going to survive. It's that simple. They have an investment into the current system.
Foreign actor. It's not going to happen. Sean Ryan's a badass operator. But he was interviewing the guy that did the cloud seeding. Can you pull that up? Feels like a theater show so that they don't kill the guy. Here's the reasons why
Buddy, this is a theater show. I mean, you're a fucking gay theater kid. What are you doing? Come on, man. You're a performance actor. You're a performance artist. Don't lie.
If you're a Texas father who lost his daughter in the flood that I caused, here's why not to kill me.
Funding comes from the Texas Weather Modification, whatever group that you were talking about, correct?
So, note, she said geoengineering.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do geoengineering. I do weather modification, and that difference is really important.
When I saw that, the cloud seeding thing, the last time I heard anything about that was people swearing up and down and shouting to the high heavens that it's fake.
Yeah,
And that if you believe in it, you're a kook. And now it's just like, it's not even acknowledged that it's a thing.
Between that and the Wi-Fi watching you clip.
Let's do Wi-Fi watching you. Let's
I'm
see what
telling
that's
you.
all about.
Using motion,
yeah.
your motion to detect.
I don't understand why you're promoting fear of technology so much. I don't think that the powers that be really have all of this magic. It's not magic, okay? They can't just click their fingers and kill you instantly. When these AI systems parse through people, it requires like a human touch in order to, I don't know, maybe I'm just bullshitting, but I'm just not scared about technology as much, honestly. Especially weather modification. Have you seen the planes that actually do that kind of stuff? They're dinky little cloud dusters. They're just crop dusters. They're tiny little things. They don't do anything. I might cut this part.
You in your home, Wi-Fi signals to detect you in your home at no extra cost. So that's free.
So this is a free security feature that comes with your internet now, is that if you're away from home, your devices can alert you when there's motion. But I think it can also like image the room. Is that a thing that it can do?
Fun fact, SWAT teams use this to figure out where gunmen are positioned behind a door. Oh, they triggered a sort of like a pattern within a hard drive, like the fan system, to produce a code that could reveal passwords or something.
That's kind of interesting.
That is very interesting. That's cool.
I know they can, each keystroke on a keyboard has a distinct signal of some sort. You can tell what somebody's typing remotely just based on like the emissions from the keyboard. That's kind of interesting. It's crazy how language is weaponized. Your interview with Candace, I'm not gonna like shit on Candace or something, but you were talking about stuff that's like, it would take fucking years to make a regular person understand the subtleties of the PSYOP and like language.
I didn't watch the Candace interview. We're gonna skip this because I don't really have anything to say about it.
About this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary to think, you know, this is the first time that his base has turned on him since the entire thing started 10 years ago. I don't know what this.
I don't know if his base really has turned on him. In the whispers, and my coworkers and my family, people are very upset with Trump because of the Epstein thing. Obviously, everyone knows that. But conservatives are very fickle, and they really just care about Green Line going up and making sure that they have a stable life. It's that simple, honestly. So if Trump can keep providing that kind of basic and putting on the TV that he's like executing Mexicans en masse, he's gonna maintain a positive rating, I think, for at least a little bit. And even if he doesn't maintain a positive rating, who cares? This is his last term. He's gonna do everything he wants. It doesn't matter at this point if he's respected when he leaves office. Obama wasn't really.
Looks like.
We'll be right back. We're here with Nick Fuentes. Whatever brand is sponsoring us approves of violence.
The Sam Hyde Show.
This is a fake advertisement. I don't actually think they're advertising anything. We're skipping it. And we're getting to the start of the MDE.TV exclusive segment. We're outside of the YouTube part, and we're really going to get into it. And Sam Hyde really starts making egregious statements around here.
Guys, we're back. Do you even notice a break? for you, it's a half a second passes. And it's like that, a modern miracle of video editing. Halfway through, can we flip the screen so I'm on the right side? People won't notice the difference. People don't get it. You can do anything with video these days. I don't think there's anybody in media that's doing anything as sort of dangerous as what you do. Mm-hmm. You're 26, right?
Yes.
That's kind of nuts.
That's not completely incorrect. Honestly, if he was honest with his opinions and what he was saying was earnest, it is kind of a dangerous statement, especially when you're naming specific names and talking about the history of Palantir. It is informative and it is subversive by nature.
Man.
I think that's the reason, though, why Nick was chosen to say these kind of things. Because he is just a disgusting piece of shit. He's irredeemable in all of his practices. He's the perfect face for alt-right platforms.
Well, you know, I'm a little older now. I'm an adult now. I'm not a kid anymore. And I guess it's just funny how I never even intended to be a live streamer or a broadcaster. You know, a lot of people look at me and think, you know, I'm a good personality on air. But I always wanted to just be in politics, and I started doing a live stream as like a hobby. I guess I reflect on how my life was sort of just like a series of reactions, sort of like one thing led to another. And I think about how strange that is, how I was doing the normal thing, which is you go to college, you be a college Republican, you're outspoken during a contentious election.
And then you started broadcasting on, then you created Cozy DV and started platforming retards like Ethan Ralph and Beardson Beardley, who you all have abandoned. What a direction to take. Instead of being a real respected pundit or an actual political commentator, you decided to be a child. You got into this way too young when you were not aware of just how dangerous your position was, and now you're stuck being a controlled opposition, spouting off nonsense while pulling in a large demographic of young people. It's disgusting.
And you go from Cassie Dillon live streaming your debate or whatever, and one thing leads to another, and you wind up at Charlottesville at January 6th, tweeting about the election, having a guy try to kill you. And it literally is just like, if you never submit to the system and you keep matching them and raising the stakes, eventually it gets to that point where they kill you or try to kill you. It's just sort of like a weird through the looking glass situation.
Nick, you're well past that point. If that was really a concern in your life, then you're well past that point. The kind of shit you've said, the rhetoric you've been honest about already in this broadcast, there's a reason why people think you're controlled opposition. Because if you're telling the truth right now, then you should be fucking dead. You can't hold these simultaneous beliefs that we live in a panopticon of pure technocratic control and the government can kill you on a dime. Just press a button and you're dead. They can see where you are in a room based off your Wi-Fi router. All right? You're going to die instantly is the rhetoric. And yet you're broadcasting this live on YouTube? I don't see how you can double think that and have both positions at once. That's why I'm really not convinced about the technocratic superiority of the military. I'm just not convinced. If you were telling truth, you'd be fucking dead. Simple as.
Where it's almost like you're on the edge of reality, you know, because I think about all my peers, they went to college and got jobs or something. And many of them even went to work in conservative politics. They write for Daily Caller, Fox News or something. But for me, it started with a question. Why do we support this country? Why do we give them foreign aid? And they said, stop asking.
It started with a question. How can I be conservative and homosexual at the same time?
And I said, well, no, you know, I need an answer. And then they said, well, we'll blacklist you. And I said, okay, I'll keep asking the question. Then they said, well, we'll call you an anti-Semite. I said, I'm going to keep going. And it's literally like if you just keep pushing and never say, through deplatforming, debanking, ostracism, the feds coming after you. If you just keep pushing the limit, they will keep coming after you like that. It's like a Grand Theft Auto wanted level. You know, it's like they're sending in tanks and helicopters until you're just either going to give up or until you're dead. So that it's just kind of such a disturbing thing, because
you're just trying to be a fear monger in order to stop a younger group from actually trying and participating in public politics. You can have these forms of beliefs and not be an ostracized loser, all right? I don't even believe you that they're going to send tanks on you because of what you say. What, is this not America? I get like deplatforming issues. You'll lose your YouTube account. You could even lose your banks. But seriously, dude, it's not like you're promoting people to skip out on their taxes. I don't think you're actually saying illegal things in the end of the day. And the real issues that you face are just because you're an idiot who you were just too young when you started, honestly, is the real issue.
Of course, you know, a lot of people look at it and the question is something like, well, is it worth it? Why do you do this to yourself? Don't you want a normal life? Don't you want to have a family and buy a house?
What a great message to be telling our children. If you take my route, if you take alternative conservative politics, you're not going to have a life. You're not going to have family. You're not going to have children. That's so demoralizing. That's the purpose of Nick Fuentes entirely. And I think this only had 20,000 views on Sam's website compared to 100,000 on YouTube. The real hardcore base who switches over to watch Nick Fuentes' rhetoric immediately is going to be demoralized, saying that what you're doing is going to ostracize you from your friends, family, and women for the rest of your life. It's a fucked position. Why would you be downing people so much? It's because you don't want them to progress. You don't want the youth of America to actually have a future. You're just a selfish piece of shit who's trying to siphon money from them and bolster yourself so you can participate in these gay parties and surround yourself with other homosexual conservatives. It's disgusting behavior. It's repugnant, honestly.
House and be able to have friends and do the things that people do. And I guess they're counting on nobody being willing to sacrifice all those things, to take it seriously enough to push it to the limit, you know, because most people tap out. They say, if I can't write for the college newspaper, I'm out. If I can't get a career at Fox News or make money, I'm out. Is there anybody that's willing to say, I'll die for a silly inquiry like that, for a silly, stupid question? You know,
now he's really not asking if you're going to die for a political position. He's demanding allegiance from his audience. Are you going to die for Nick Fuentes? I don't even know if I can really say what Nick Fuentes' motto was. I think it's, we're going to rape, kill, and die for Nick Fuentes. That's disgusting. He's not being charged in order to change a political position. He's just trying to suck in an impressionable youth with hardcore rhetoric and make these and brainwash these people to support him for the rest of his life. It's kind of similar to what was it? Not Ron Paul. What Bernie Sanders did with young liberal, with like young Oregon liberals. He just brainwashed them at a young age in order to secure his bank for the rest of his life.
A lot of people say, that's not, you know, let's get back to real life. And I'm like, this is our real lives. This is all of our real lives, you know?
Are you willing to die?
I never had to face that question until recently, you know, when someone tried to kill me. But yeah, I think I would be. I don't think I would give in even at the point of death, but you don't know until you're tested.
Some guy.
But you stayed inside your house like a bitch. What are you talking about?
In a fucking helmet.
You don't even have the option to defend yourself. You live in Chicago, dude. What are you talking about? You're willing to face death.
Came to try to kill you?
That's right. Yeah, after the election.
What the fuck was that?
Well, you know, it's funny because I didn't even vote for Trump in 2024. I was actually vocally against. But on the night of the election, I had this clip go viral where I said, it's your body, my choice. You know,
That I hate this. I've seen so many TikToks of schools of teenagers chanting "Your body, my choice" in schools, and that kind of rhetoric is specifically designed to scare teenage girls away from the movement, in order to just make teenage girls afraid of men, boys, conservative politics, just Trump in general. You can't have a political movement succeed and divorce half of your country. You know, you need women on your side. And you can't just make your party platform, "We're going to rape you." That's not a good platform to have. That doesn't make any sense.
which is a little turn of phrase. My body, my choice. No, it's your body.
It's a turn of phrase. "I'm going to rape you." That's disgusting. And that's not something you should ever promote chanting in a public setting. And yet it actually did gain traction at a point. It's crazy where our political stances are. But there are thousands of young men who actually believe this shit.
It's my choice.
That's awesome. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Does Sam Hyde actually probably does think that's funny? I mean, it's hard to say because he really has a very stern face. At this point, I'm not sure if he actually likes being in the same room as Nick. This is kind of a boring conversation, and Sam really hasn't interjected with much else other than like silly gags and asking his boys to talk for him. Is Sam actually smart enough to participate in this conversation? I'm not actually certain. We might see it soon. We might have already skipped it, but at some point, Sam actually talks about a 6,000-year-old Earth with earnesty. He actually believes that, I guess, the Ken Ham Museum myth that we lived at the same time with dinosaurs. I really don't know, but he earnestly believes that, which is just an absurd thing. I don't want to shit on Christians, but that's retarded. You know, it wasn't a 6,000-year-old Earth, but whatever. We'll
Also,
hear it out.
First of all, Scott Adams. You're familiar with Scott Adams? You know the man. Oh, yeah. When the guy came to try to kill you, Scott Adams was like, "Well, I have some advice for Nick Fuentes. Just don't say stuff where people are going to try to kill you." Do you see him say that?
No, I didn't see that.
If you're producing content that's making people want to drive hundreds of miles to your house and kill you, you might want to think about that.
Listen, I don't want.
That is pretty bitch position, honestly. You should earnestly and openly state everything in your heart without fear. Okay, that's not... Whatever. He wins. That's the tactic that they're playing at, though. This whole show, it's been two truths and a lie. It's a game.
I don't want to disrespect Scott Adams, okay? He said stuff that made God try to kill him. And he knows it too. He's getting a second chance now because he reneged on the vaccine stuff. You know, this stuff can come for anybody. I'm not enjoying Schadenfreude right here. I'm just saying, Scott Adams, maybe you shouldn't say stuff that makes God try to kill you. But also, the other thing is, Scott Adams says stuff that, like, he said, "Get the fuck away from black people."
Yeah.
He should understand more than anybody, you know, saying something incendiary to make somebody try to kill him.
A lot of people do this to Nick where they'll perform at the edge, right? And then they'll draw a line and say, "I'm not that guy."
Yeah.
And
that pisses, I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It's really just a matter of appearing more moderate by comparison. It's always convenient to say, well, you know, I'm not a real racist like that guy. I'm not a real Nazi. It's like a form of sacrifice, which...
I think it's very weird that Sam Hyde is willing to eat the candy bar in the presence of Nick Fuentes when he wasn't able to take the cookies from Harland. Does that candy bar really not have seed oils or corn syrup? I think he's just trying to open up with Nick, honestly, and relate to Nick's childish loser audience of basement dweller fat asses who live off the government dole. But he wasn't able to build a gorilla nest, though. It's really sad. It's really sad to see who he wants to befriend. And I just don't like it. I honestly don't. Sam Hyde is a funny guy. I was very willing to be a good fan of his, but this is disgusting. You can't be eating candy bars so Nick Fuentes will respect you.
You know, we really need to be all in it together. Because compared to the left or whoever, you know, it is that we're fighting, we're all that guy. We're all that racist, that Nazi, that Trump supporter, that whatever. It's not really saving anybody's skin. It's only a short-term kind of fix. I don't even think the joke was that bad. I feel like I've said, wait, I was at Charlottesville. I was at January 6th. I was telling people.
Is this the brick ceiling thing?
There will never be a female president, ever! It's over. Glass ceiling? Dude, it's a ceiling made of fucking bricks. You will never break it.
Yes.
Okay, now I really don't disagree with him on that, honestly. It's not good to shit on women, but look, maybe there won't be a woman president. It's not really reasonable in our lifetimes. I mean, Trump did beat 2 presidents, but the kind of rhetoric that he's going to say in just a second, where it was the rape, it's the president who was accused of rape, beat 2 women's, and therefore America would rather have a rapist in an office than a woman. That's not a good look for anybody. And I get that you're trying to shit on Donald Trump, shit on conservative politics, and make this side look just disgusting and repugnant. But it's fucked up, man. You're slandering Donald Trump, who is very likely on the Epstein list. There are options you can go with talking about this, but the kind of things you do just shit on everybody at the end of the day. You make everybody look bad by every movement. Let's keep going.
That'll get you more heat than a lot of the stuff that you say.
Yeah.
Did you find that out? Is that the case?
Well, you know, because everybody that was harassing me was all women. I was even talking to people that work for me, and they said, you know, my daughter said, you work for that guy? I can't believe that. And it's funny because I'm known as like the anti-Semite, but
this was anti-sweetie.
Yeah.
You can't be anti-sweetie in today's day and age. You learn yourself a tongue lashing.
The anti-Femite.
You know, I did the Your Body, My Choice, and, you know, to me, that was just a stupid throw. Like I said, I didn't even vote for Trump, so I wasn't celebrating that he won, really. I just thought it was funny that he's like accused of being a rapist, and he prevented 2 women from becoming president. Like, you know, because in one timeline, it's like a black woman becomes president and like Trump goes to jail forever. But it's like, no, for the second time, a woman is defeated by like an accused rapist Nazi, like the president of America. And like the message is like America hates women. Like, you're gonna have any woman.
What a bad message to be sending. The Conservative Party hates women. America hates women. That's a disgusting message. It's not true. The only people who I've ever seen be so vitriolic against women were gay. Okay? There's a specific demographic of people who hate women. They're called gay men. Why are you like this? Can you just come out of the closet? I mean, Tucker Carlson called you a wimpy gay loser recently, and it was completely on point.
White or black, or like this rapist idiot who like doesn't know like countries in Africa and stuff like that. So I didn't even like that he won, but I was just like, this is so funny that this happened this way. And it blew up. I didn't even think it would. I didn't think that was the funniest joke ever. It's kind of, you know, at least that's saying it's a fairly obvious turn of phrase, but it got 100 million views on Twitter, which is just like insane. And I kind of thought that was funny. I was kind of getting a kick out of it. But then people started posting a screenshot of my address, my phone number, my parents' information, and then that went viral alongside with it on TikTok and Twitter. And people were saying they were going to burn my house down and come and kill me and rape me and stuff like that.
That's pretty funny. People, taste of your own medicine, I guess, honestly. When you say that all of American women deserve to be raped, what do you think that means? Your body, my choice. Is that all women across the states have no autonomy? It's now a Trump's America, and we don't consent anymore. That's literally what you're trying to get at. So why not? I think the reasonable, like a just, a real lawful way to deal with the situation is just to rape you. Why not? I mean, it's completely fair.
And so within a week after the election, hundreds of people.
I don't think it's a good idea, though. Nick would probably like it too much. I don't think you can rape a homosexual. I guess we'll make Candace Owens do him.
People showed up at my house. They would take pictures outside and DM me the picture. I'm outside your house, which is kind of funny. Like, in fairness, that's like kind of a funny troll. It doesn't make me feel good, but it was a little like, hey, I'm outside your house right now. Here's the proof. Took a live photo. People threw eggs at the door. People would drive by and honk their horn or scream or whatever. I mean, I didn't like that, but it was relatively harmless. And then this was a month later, about a month and a half later, I was back doing my show. I had totally forgotten. There wasn't any action in my house for a long time. And during my show, I was wrapping up a regular show. I forget what day it was. And I heard somebody yelling outside, which had happened before. So I didn't really think too much of it. I heard someone kind of yell something.
I just don't really care to hear about Nick's trauma story when he's, I don't know, the kind of things that he promotes does not make him a sympathetic character, all right? And I don't really want, there's no way I can say what I want to without getting my YouTube channel shut down, but there were missed opportunities, that's it.
I thought, oh, it's somebody trying to troll me, someone harassing me. I couldn't tell, it was muffled.
It would be funny if it was like a badass thing, like, Fuentes! Get the fuck out of here!
Well, the guy that tried to kill me, he was like 5'3".
Yeah.
He was like super, and in the video.
Aren't you like 5'5"? You beat damn near at eye height. Especially compared to Sam Hyde, who has to lean over 4 inches in order to make himself look less overpowering. Sam Hyde in comparison is like a whole foot taller than you, and I can tell just by looking at your profiles of each other. But whatever, I guess you're going to be scared of a guy who's 5'3", who held a crossbow in one hand and a gun in the other. Come on, man.
He said, he's like, hey, Nick.
Yo, Nick.
It was like the least awful assassination attempt.
He looked scary. He had a motorcycle helmet on, right?
He did, yeah, but he was like, he was this big. He was like literally 5'3" and like a nerd.
A motorcycle helmet's not going to help you kill someone.
It looks hard.
It makes it so you can't tell what's going on. It's like your vision is obstructed to this, and you can't hear anything. And if you get hit with a helmet on, it doesn't like feel good.
I know.
It's extra weight that moves your head.
Yeah.
You can't really, not really used to it.
Snap your neck off with that shit.
So this kid, he's yelling outside my house, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'll wrap up the show quickly. But I open up while I'm doing the super chats on my show, so I'm responding to.
I want to skip this, honestly. I really don't think that there's anything of value in this position. I'm not sympathetic to Nick at all right now. I guess we can, I don't know. I feel like it should be maintained on YouTube for posterity's sake, but it's just going to be woe is me rhetoric.
That'd be a good video game title. Let's talk about the second wave.
I feel like the world that you and I came up in.
There's a specific line that Sam says, and once we get to it, we might just end there. It's so disgusting. Let's get through it.
This is what, 2016?
Yeah,
that
right
shit
around
felt like
that time.
the Wild West.
Yeah, when you did 2070 and you did
yeah, man,
$1 Million Extreme and all that.
Yeah,
and I was starting my show. It's like we were the rebels.
Yeah,
you know. Back then, it's like the left was hegemonic. It felt like they had complete spectrum dominance, and it was always increasing. Every year, it was like more women, more diverse, more gay, and like, you know, now people see a Disney movie with like a black Disney princess, and they go, "What the fuck? Like more of this, really? Oh, what's next? Like rape fugee, you know, wheelchair Barbie, you know, stuff like that." But back then, people were like, yes, like, and that's a good thing, you know, they would say that. So there was like this very specific aesthetic that it had back then, and like just this feeling of dread that it's like everybody was competing with each other to be more woke, more progressive.
Do you know what humans of flat Earth is? Like Google drawings where it's sort of shapeless, blobular humans with purple skin, that type of stuff. Google still does it. There was no end in sight back then, and it really felt like it was truly cyberpunk and dystopian, and
You know, it's not wrong at all. It's true. There is a push in liberal politics and our current zeitgeist for ugliness. There is a fight against beauty, beautiful people, beautiful art. I don't exactly know why. Not the most in-depth into it yet, but it's very obvious with your own eyes. Everything around you is ugly by design. We don't have good-looking houses. Art isn't good-looking. Websites aren't good-looking. There is no aestheticism left in this world. It was ripped from us from some source, all right? I get it. But what are some of the most beautiful things in the world? Women, you know, classical art. I mean, their natural curvature. Everything is aesthetic based off the form of a beautiful woman. Okay? And you're going to disregard and denigrate every single woman in America? No. America has the most beautiful women in the world, and we need to respect them. We need to love them and cherish them in order to propagate and fulfill our destiny as Americans. But I guess you're just going to shit on liberal ugliness while also bolstering how every single woman should be raped and forgotten and thrown into a kitchen. Like, come on, man.
Extreme Peace, I mean, it hit much harder back then because it was on a network and we were like sneaking stuff in onto TV. And now it's like they're dropping N-bombs on Kill Tony and stuff like that.
It's disorienting because we came of age in this time where you could get attention and, you know, trigger everybody. You know, you just say something edgy, like edgelording and you know, kind of being like the first mover on some of these ideas like race realism and the Jewish thing. And so you could kind of just hit.
Dude, these ideas have been around since the 40s. I don't know what you're talking about, the first mover. You're just like the next wave of retard on the internet with a microphone, okay? Stop sucking your own dick so much. You're not the revolutionary you think you are.
The funny button, you know, if you wanted a reaction, you just say like, women are fucking stupid, you know?
That's not funny, okay? You can't just... Why do you hate women so much? The answer must be because you're gay. But you still... At this point, I'm sure you've heard it enough to where you know this is subversive rhetoric in order to push women out of the movement. Because if you don't have women in the movement, you're not gonna inspire young men to want to join. Because why would men do anything for politics but to get laid? That's why there is so many jokes about liberal men who don't care about politics and are just there to like fuck cheap gash. It's really, you know, this is a thing that's important, is that you have like beautiful people in your movement in order to inspire other people to join you. Otherwise, if you don't surround yourself with normal and beautiful people, then you look like a disgusting retard surrounded by other disgusting retards.
Like, blacks commit crime, and like you fast forward to today and people see that on like Joe Rogan, you know, people see that kind of stuff on like TV, like Shane Gillis is on Netflix doing those jokes. I'm not throwing shade or whatever, but what are effectively like 2015 edgy Twitter jokes on Netflix. It's a weird, disorienting feeling that world that we grew up in, it did end. You know, liberal hegemony did stop in a certain sense.
I think that means that we were successful. It's a good thing. It's like there's light at the end of the tunnel now. The thing that gives me anxiety now is the whole structure, the whole like thread that holds together the structure of global power. It is threatened in a way that it wasn't in the Cold War or at any point in our lives. The fact that there's video of every world leader fucking kids is like kind of scary, just because you don't know what's going to happen.
There's also something subtle that we need to be skeptical about, which is, for example, they say that when there's white men in the recruiting ads, that means we're going to war.
Yeah.
And I think there's a hidden truth in there. When they want to get
I don't know when this was filmed, but there's been a lot of more white people in advertisements right now just because there's a cultural shift. I'm pretty sure corporations are realizing that it's not a safe and easy buck, because I actually am not convinced that there's a wide subversive action in order to show us this ugly stuff constantly, but rather that there are think tank groups of liberal lobbyists who have this ideal of America that is just counterculture. It is disgusting. And they're convincing that these out-of-touch rich corporate heads that these are the ideas of the common man. It's really not corporations. It's perhaps not really their fault that they're displaying us such ugly shit. Like, is Google really at fault for inventing Allegra? No, I think that's the fault of these liberal think tanks that are trying to promote growth in corporations. Because a lot of these corporations, for example, like let's talk about RuneScape, one that I used to love a lot. RuneScape has maxed out on its potential market value. I think Josh talked about this. I'm pretty sure he did. RuneScape has maxed out on its potential market value. So in order to grow further, it was convinced by some think tank that you can make a cheap increase in population and income by just catering to gays and blacks. It doesn't actually work like that because they don't want anything to do with a medieval game. Like, they had already realistically reached their market cap. But because we live in a speculative economy, it has to have growth, otherwise it will go down. Our stock market doesn't pay us back in dividends anymore. It's about speculation. And because of that, corporations are desperate since everyone's peaked and there's money's just going around in a big circle. No one's actually developing anything productive anymore. They're just grasping at straws, doing whatever they can to develop a larger sales-based customer base.
Everybody back on board with the system. You get like Mark Zuckerberg getting a haircut and waving the flag and saying, "Hey guys, I'm like a libertarian now." And people are so quick to uncritically say, "Oh, all right, Zuckerberg's red pilled now. He went to the gym and now he couldn't avoid being based." You're already kind of seeing it with like the podcast bro, tech bro. Obviously, you did the Elon Musk thing. Last year, everybody uncritically accepted, oh, Silicon Valley's red-pilled now. Like Joe Rogan's red-pilled now. And a year later, obviously, that's not the case. That was a big part of why I spoke out against Trump. It's like, do they need something from us? And this is an op to kind of reestablish legitimacy. Because one thing no one's talking about now that Trump won the election is voter fraud. In 2020, they definitely stole the election. Trump wins, and now everyone thinks the elections are legit. And we're all just going to forget that they stole the election and they did a forced vaccine, which would have been like a punchline, 15 years ago. Yeah. So people should really be skeptical and not take the win. Because I think they lean into the left and then lean into the right. And they kind of do this balancing act.
The onus is on us to keep the gas pedal down and just keep pursuing the truth.
I think a big part of what they're...
That was a non sequitur. I don't think Sam was really listening to Nick at all. Okay.
Their game is to convince us to despair.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yay...
Yeah, you're saying the quiet part out loud now. You are the point of despair. Trying to demoralize young men to stop having families, to not care about the future, to think that we're all going to die and to be afraid of technology. You are the despair. You're a grim reaper on this political party, man.
Posted that video from ants where the grasshoppers say, if all the ants stand up, then we're dead. And it's like, that psychology is so critical where, and a big part of even the anti-Semitism stuff is in the old days, someone would say anything about Jewish people and they would isolate that person and just do like an orbital strike on their entire existence. And it would put everybody back in line because everybody say, whoa, we don't want that to happen to us. And now, it's like, what if we all rushed Area 51? It's like Dan Bilzerian. What if we all said, fuck the Jews on Twitter at the same time? Then they couldn't ban us, And I'm a big believer in like, one day they might not show up to the battlefield and then we win. One day they might collapse. One day the guy that's going to ban you on Twitter like dies in a car crash on his way to the office. Nothing is written. I'm a big believer and we have to be sober, but also optimistic in a sense, hopeful about the future.
I have heard that if 3% of the tax-paying, group of taxpayers stop paying their taxes, the IRS would collapse in on itself. We all pay our taxes, though. We would never,
What do you want out of life?
I'm really just interested in the truth. What has kind of been the driving force behind my life is this inquiry, basically, into the things that matter. And I think that when you look at the things that matter, you wind up in politics. You wind up
surrounded by pedophiles when you find the things that matter. You wind up surrounded by easily influenced young men. Okay? I can see what you think matters. I remember last time you were searching for what matters, you went on a gay date with Catboy Cammy, who used to be named Lolly Socks. Like, come on, man. Everyone can see what you think matters. What you think matters is telling your supporters to disregard the police, disregard the ropes. Come on.
In religion, you wind up in philosophy. And then you also run into, there's this relationship between the ultimate truth and the state is usually what happens. That's what happened to Jesus. And I think that's what happens in any political system. I don't think I'm a super complicated person in that regard. I don't think I'm motivated by base desires.
I think it's disgusting that he's comparing himself to Jesus. I'm not a Christian, obviously, from everything that I've said so far. That's pretty obvious. But if in Jesus's myth, he was the perfect man, the Son of God, did no sin. No one can be held to that standard of living. And to even put yourself in the same sentence as that man is stupid. It's like trying to say you're as strong as Hercules or as beautiful as Aphrodite, It doesn't make any sense.
A lot of people, they push me on like, why don't you get married? Why don't you have a girlfriend? It's trendy now to say that's like super
Let's go back
traditional
on this.
and
This
that's
is
what
important.
we ought to do. A lot of people, they push me on like, why don't you get married? Why don't you have a girlfriend? It's trendy now to say that's like super traditional and that's what we ought to do. I just think that's like a normative thing to do. And I don't think it's in some way any less base than just casual sex. Because in one sense,
that doesn't make any sense. Developing a family and having relationships is not the same as casual sex. That is such a disgusting, incorrect rhetoric. And for Sam Hyde to just sit there and listen to that bullshit and not give any pushback is retarded. He has to have been giving a script beforehand, because anyone just off the cuff hearing that kind of rhetoric would instantly just stand up and start screaming, because that's stupid. No, a relationship is not the same thing as having casual sex. Either way, it's not a bad thing. We have a declining birth rate in America, okay? We need to promote sex by any means. Seriously, any means. One of the craziest things that have lowered the birth rates is the decline of like teen pregnancies, because teenagers aren't developing relationships anymore. People need to start connecting on an equal level again. And the only way we're going to do that is by making women happy, and by respecting them, and then making them comfortable enough to want to develop families. The only way that's going to happen is by hearing them out, not threatening to rape them, and then involving them in politics. It's really that simple. We have a very short they have a short list of demands in order to be happy. Have you seen the kind of people who actually have kids, the kind of like dumb, ignorant hicks? I'm sure you do, because you always complain about them all the time, bud. You hate the working class who actually has families. The standards for what a woman really wants nowadays is honestly relatively low. And we should exploit that in order to just develop a family. It's the most important thing we can do right now is getting a wife, getting a girlfriend, and having sex. Seriously, get laid. It's the most important thing you can do in your life right now. Don't be a celibate monk for Nick Fuentes.
You know, casual sex is pursuing pleasure. Pursuing a family is also something that's material in a way too.
That you can't even like equate the two in a reasonable way. That doesn't make any sense. The material thing you get out of developing a family is generational wealth, is the securing your name, making sure that you will have a lineage, making sure you don't die in a home getting poked at by brown people as you rot away of Alzheimer's. There's many good things that come just naturally off the top of my head when you develop a family. It's not some materialistic waste. It's actually the opposite. It's developing, it's real production in the world. Things that Americans lack right now. We're all like consumeristic losers, too focused on our own purchases and our own lives to develop like long-standing... I'm getting pissed. Just hear him out.
So I've never been driven by things like that.
So you're kind of just interested in this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Monomania is a prerequisite for success.
Interesting, yeah. Don't be a jack of all trades, be a master of one. And as a family man too, I would also agree with that to a certain degree, you have to be off the chessboard. You can't be a pawn. You can't perform a service to...
As a family man, I have to agree that what I'm doing is a selfish act of materialism. I'm not trying to develop myself or my country at all. That's the only way you can actually say, honestly, that you're going to agree with his position. Like, when you really break down what he's saying, it's just retarded. It doesn't make any sense.
To your fellow man as much because you have a responsibility to your domestic kingdom.
Yeah, that's totally true. And like, you know, that's the first thing that they get you on. That's your biggest vulnerability. Every man that says, I can't be bought, I can't be controlled, they just go 1 degree of separation away and they compromise your wife, your kids, your best friend, your employees. They go for the people that you do care about. That's kind of always, even in like the movies, that's how, like in Mission Impossible.
Dude, you're watching way too many movies. This isn't Spider-Man, okay? If your wife holds the same beliefs as you, then she might just be ride or die enough in order to commit to these beliefs. Perhaps if we can just be convincing and welcoming, women will accept these beliefs with us. We don't have to abandon them in order to go on these crazy idealist journeys.
Man, yeah, that's how it goes. It's like, we can't get him, we'll go for the people he loves. And even with me, they came from my parents, they've come from my people, friends, family, employees, stuff like that. And they also influence you too. It's like you said, you can't really go into the battlefield willing to die if you are then worrying about, what about my wife and kids? What are they going to do after?
That's so incorrect. You were just shitting on the troops a second ago, but that's the exact thought that goes through their head. These patriotic men who are willing to die for their country in order to support their families. And you know, when an American dies for his country, the wife and the family gets treated very well by the United States government. there are benefits actually to being a ride or die supporter. And you're lying entirely about the purpose of sacrifice. The role of a man is to be the bearer of society. Yes, I get that. But we have to, what society ultimately is culture. And how we develop culture is by appreciation of beauty. And that comes from loving art, food, women, children. Okay? It's really that simple. And if you're going to take away anything on that list, which you take away all of it on that list, you don't love art, you fucking suck the dick of Kanye, a schizophrenic, who sings about sucking off his cousin. You don't love food, you eat at McDonald's, you're getting fat and pudgy. You don't love women, obviously. And the only thing you really do love on that list is children, and way too fucking much, dude. You're the complete opposite of culture and beauty in any single conceivable way. And yet you're going to start complaining about the duty of sacrifice, saying that you can't, you're going to be held back by the love of your wife in a battle situation. Are you stupid? That's the reason why you go to battle, is to secure your culture and your beauty.
Afterwards. So that does enter into the calculation. To the question of what do you want, you almost have to give up even the operative word, which is want. A lot of people say, like, I want a family. And they say, well, that's a wholesome thing to want. But it's still attachment. It's still wanting. And if you want something...
Is this guy a Zen Buddhist all of a sudden? Are we going to start having to shed our needs? Are we going to have to start... Do we need to hit Sumatra? Like, what is he talking about? Shed your wants. You should only devote yourself to Nick Fuentes and America first. Shed all of your earthly desires and give me all of your money, your time, your love and support. Don't develop a family. Don't focus on your country. Hate your troops. Love me. That's not... This... It's such a different shift from the YouTube portion, where all he's talking about is very reasonable things. He's just telling the truth about current political state, and it's very milquetoast, honestly. Only a few mild outbursts of stupid things, and they all come from Sam, which I think is deliberate counterweight to make Sam look like the crazy wild one, while Nick is the reasonable, level-headed conservative. But in reality, once you get past the YouTube portion, shit just goes downhill really fast. Nick starts going off the rails, saying just insane things, and Sam is just going to suck it all up. He doesn't say anything against it. He's going to be a bootlicker, getting on his knees to suck off Nick Fuentes of all people. It's disgusting.
That's how you can be controlled, is by the things that you want. Because to have what you want, a family, well, you need a job. You need to be respectable. You need to have all these prerequisites. And if people are willing to say, well, I need to do this to have what I want.
Yes, that's exactly how we're going to develop a great country. America first, by shedding away our wants and getting rid of our family, our house, and our children. It doesn't make any sense.
That's how people, I think, are making compromises all the time. So with me, I guess I kind of just set myself in motion and said I'm kind of willing to go wherever.
If you forego those things, then you should. The only thing that could drive you is...
Oh, shit. Going wherever, like sleeping with Milo Yiannopoulos. And I don't mean that colloquially. I mean, they actually slept in the same bed together at a hotel one time.
Everything that could drive you is, well, truth, you know, like to see that there's an eternal truth, that you could skip the sort of prefigurements here on earth.
Priest, an artist, a great leader. Anybody like that has kind of like a similar, you know, maybe doesn't get married because they're so dedicated to what they do.
How deeply?
That's disgusting. You're a priest, you're an artist, you're a great leader because you don't get married. That doesn't make any sense, dude. It's not, you really should be focusing on family values, okay? It's one of the most basic lines of rhetoric in conservative speech that anyone can get down. And That's a game changer, honestly. Even liberals, they lose a lot of their hardcore liberal ethics, once they have children because they're not compatible at all, a lot of times. But I don't know. I guess you should just abandon your family and focus on being a great leader or an artist or a priest. That's why I'm saying he literally wants celibate monks to follow him. It's disgusting.
Do you believe in God?
I'm a very faithful person.
What did Jung call it? Synchronicity? Have you ever had any weird stuff like that?
No, I never had a deep religious experience, honestly. A lot of people...
I kind of believe that, honestly. Sam, I think he's an earnest believer, but Nick Fuentes, he just says whatever will get him popular. I don't even think he's actually an earnest believer in Christ or Catholicism at all. But let's hear him out.
You know, they come to religion because they hear the voice of God or something, but nothing like that ever happened to me. For me, I always just had a disposition towards a belief in God. I think that we're created.
Well, you're Mexican. I mean, you were probably raised in a Catholic household. It's kind of makes sense, yeah.
With a purpose, with a direction. I think that the world is imbued with meaning. It's intelligent. And to me, the biggest thing I've been on lately is, first and foremost, is I believe that we have souls. I think that's obvious. And I think that we have two natures. And when you consider that a human being, the human mind, is unlike anything else in the universe, you know, the brain is more complex than anything that exists ever, period. You realize that we're fundamentally distinct from nature. And so it's like we have a body that is very similar to nature because it
I don't understand this line of rhetoric. It really does sound like some Ken Ham creationist theory. The idea that that humans are designed intelligently just doesn't make... Personally, I don't really buy it all that much. I don't really want to shit on Christians by any means, but creationism and young earth creationism just doesn't really make much sense. Consider that we have like appendixes that are vestigial organs. We have cancer. I mean, there's complexity there's complexity all around us, and that's not necessarily a good thing. For example, we start developing Alzheimer's at a late age. I mean, and I'm not really convinced that we're perfect by design, because we're not perfect by design at all times. And not everyone is perfect by design either. I mean, there's people born with extra chromosomes. And what other brains are complex too? I mean, I find it extremely strange and complex how spiders don't have brains. They have like bundles of nervous systems that do just natural reflexes to create movement, I guess. I think that's a strangely complex how nerve bundles can control something without needing like a higher function. But whatever. I'm not convinced by young earth creationism.
Dies, and it's made of carbon and things like, it's made of atoms. But we have will and intentionality and consciousness and mind, which are unlike anything else. And so to me, that proves you have a body, you have the flesh, but you also have the spirit and the soul. And once you kind of think about the natural and the supernatural, it's like that's where you kind of get cooking and say, okay, there is obviously a God.
This was before I was like a real believer, but it brought me closer was, Sam Harris. I was watching a video of Sam Harris talking. Of course, he wouldn't allow for the possibility of God being real. Like, he wouldn't even allow for the possibility of it to be real, even if there were evidence that were shown to him. If he had seen evidence, what he would allow for the possibility of is that we live in a simulation with a God that's programmed into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Atheists were super douchebags not too long ago. I remember the time of Atheism Plus. I get it. It's not cool to be an atheist. There is a natural spirit that people possess, and worship is natural with us. While I personally don't believe in Christianity or God at all, I just want to make that very blatantly clear. I do believe that man desires ritual and worship. That we have a higher desire for things that we don't understand, and we try to fill explanation into everything. That's why we have early analogies, even with like Greek religions, that try to explain the reasonings for the tides or the origins of their people. Esotericism is sadly a gap filler that we do in order to create more building blocks in understanding our world. Because otherwise, we're left ignorant. And it's better to fill ignorancy with an incorrect answer than to be left with questions. Honestly, that's how it is. I really don't want to listen to this portion because I just don't give a shit about religion all that much. Well, how long is it? It's like 7 minutes.
Learning what, not a person that's questioning or a person that's trying to figure stuff out, but what real atheists are. Part of what they're doing is they're revolting against hierarchy because they know that they are so ugly inside and that they belong at the bottom of the hierarchy and there's no way up for them. And so part of what they wanted, and this is a lot of like political and cultural labels that people apply to themselves. A lot of it is about just finding the shortest route to reversing the hierarchy so that they, in their shittiness, can be on top. I don't think that's what Sam Harris is about. If I had to guess, I would believe that Sam Harris believes in demons and probably worships them. The idea of the mid-curve meme, where you've got the wise scholar on one end and the dumbass on the other end. It's kind of crazy how stupid people are like protected by superstition and whatever else. Like they're divinely protected almost in a sense.
I agree with this sentiment. We do need to protect the ignorant. They are an important class of people that needs to be guarded. I don't know. I guess I kind of don't agree with this then, because I think the ignorant are kind of easily influenced. But there is a breath of truth that if you just can't be bothered to communicate with somebody, then you'll never learn this stupid liberal nonsense. Like large lines of rhetoric and college, like $10 words are not going to sway ignorant laborers. That's just how it is.
Yes.
For their benefit, for everyone's benefit, actually. The literacy rates are way too damn high.
Poor people, they're domestic abusers and they're alcoholics and all this other shit. But to some extent, they are protected like divinely, and it's through no work that they did or like thoughts that they had. And then the people that are like 130 IQ. Self-driving cars, okay? Every time you hear about self-driving cars, it's only going to be 5 years until we have a self-driving car. And part of it is that you just don't understand the complexity of a problem. And this is driving. Is driving a complex task? They let people with 65 IQs drive cars, right? In 2002, they had video games with full traffic rules, cops that pull you over, cars that don't bump into each other, realistic pedestrians. If there was an actual self-driving car where you didn't have to like hold the steering wheel like this, ready for it to whip into a pedestrian, I would go buy one. I'm tired of driving. Right. And it's like, it would flatten like taxi industry, Uber, like it would amass so much value. It would become a $10 trillion company in a week. So it's a grand prize problem, and it's yet to be solved. It's always 5 years off, and it's because this seemingly simple problem, you don't understand the complexity of it until you're in it trying to make it work, right? I do believe that these people like understand 95% of what's going on, but like the difference between that first 95%, which is like dropping a bowling ball and a feather from a tower, like the guy that did that's a genius, okay? But that's also something that like a 14-year-old could do. It's not rocket science, okay? The gulf between the first 95% of figuring out what reality is and that last 4.5%, and then the last 0.5% is like beyond the scope of my comprehension. I know the thought process of a 130 IQ atheist thinking, I understand the universe. It's all atoms and bits, and all information can be encoded in megabits. That's not it. It's something extremely way more grand and mystifying than that, man.
You know what's crazy about that last 4% is
esotericism really is a retard trap.
I think just like the driving car thing, it seeks to put humanity in a box to where a point where one is like solve a problem that has the human in it, which is like, you know, an inexplicable miracle. And you can't like just quantify it. So drivers and all this. And then also the other half of like the astrophysics or whatever, the space shit, as I call it, it seeks to quell the curiosity of man. And both things seem to be impossible because we are the sort of like paradigm shattering thing. We can't be put in a box, and like no amount of like billions of galaxies and all that shit is going to make us be like, oh, okay. Yeah. I think we figured it out. We never will because we're seeking outwardly for something that you should essentially seek inwardly, which would be God and your connection to God.
I feel like even atheists
All right, let's
believe
keep
in
going. Even atheists believe in God. No, okay, I understand what he's getting at here. Hold on. Atheists kind of believe in a monotheistic God in the West because that is the largest aspect of our culture. When people refer to God, it's always in the proper noun variant. All right. We don't speak of particular deities for certain tasks that they may have. Because back in the day, gods used to be related to jobs that they would have, right? Now we just have God. And when people refer to him or any deity, it's a monotheistic one. So we're stuck in a, what's the word? A paradigm where if we're going to be referring to any god, it's God. And that can draw some confusion for a lot of Christians when we're stuck in that same distinction bubble. I get it. It makes sense. But it's not that atheists actually believe in God, but that the language used to describe that character is very confined nowadays since we have a limited perspective on what God means.
God, I think that when you really push, even in the language that they use, you know, I think everybody acts as though we talk about people, we are talking about their souls. We are talking about there's a person inside, so to speak. There's a persona.
It's not just matter. It's not just physical matter.
Right.
Because then it wouldn't matter if you're putting it in a meat grinder. Like, who gives a fuck? It is.
Right. Yeah, you're just rearranging the atoms.
You're just finding. Yeah, it's still there. Yeah. We rearranged all these Dominican people's atoms. Don't worry. They're still made of star stuff, guys.
Well, and even just the language about design. You know, how could you explain the function of DNA without the language of design? You know, you say the DNA is the blueprint. Well, who's writing the blueprint? That spontaneously came together. And I mean, then you get into things like evolution. It's like, I have a buddy who's a super creationist Catholic. And he likes to say, atheists believe we came from rocks. Rocks turn into people, which is literally true. You know, they say that rocks turn into the primordial stew, which turned into, part of a cell, into a fish, a lizard, a dinosaur, a monkey, a person.
Okay, well, it's a matter of belief. I think it's just ignorant to try to say that you can go back in time and see the origin of life. Okay, it's really that simple. Can't we just relish in a little bit of ignorance and just stop pretending that we have the answers to everything? That's why I'm not really convinced about the creationist thing. And I don't give a shit about evolution either. I got a job, man. I got to work. You know? life is very hard and everyone is very earthly right now. I think we need to focus on us on Earth at this moment. And we can't be sticking our heads into the esoteric clouds to try to nonsense reason bullshit, okay? It doesn't matter.
Well, here's the thing. I'm willing to go there, though. The question there is, if you believe in evolution.
Who cares? I really don't care about the origin of life. It's an annoying conversation because no one can be honest with you. No one can tell you the truth about what happens. We don't have time machines, so it doesn't matter. It's an irrelevant question.
Solution is, it still doesn't get rid of the question, which is like this process that happens, even if it just happens. I don't have the language to explain how mystifying this is, but it's like a person who seeks to explain everything physically through evolution.
I don't see how you can be so stuck on like the development of life from rocks, but you can't love women. Focus more on what's in front of you, on the items we have in Earth that are of an issue today. Stop trying to think about the esoteric beginnings of man. It's a worthless line of thought that's going to get you nowhere, honestly. You're just sitting there stuck up in your head. You sound like a fucking dumb pothead going, whoa, dude. Man, imagine it. We came from stars. It's stupid.
And there's no God. There's this like black hole that's like, why? You don't solve the problem by believing in evolution. Like the problem that you're trying to solve, which is the grand mystery of existence. You don't solve it by...
I don't think that's a big problem to solve. Who cares? I'm trying to reproduce and I'm trying to eat every day and I want to enjoy sunlight. That is the grand mystery, honestly. It's a lot more simple than that. The grand mystery is trying to find ways to enjoy your life, okay? And we're not going to do that by not allowing women into our clubhouse.
Saying that it turns into this. It could hypothetically be completely real that's the case. It doesn't answer your question, though, the reason you started looking into it in the first place. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know.
I think it only works backwards like that. Only looking backwards could that make sense. Mm-hmm. Well, what would propel evolution forward?
I got stopped there because I had a vision of the guys in the submarine that died. Oh. I just think, like... we're talking about evolution. I just imagined like the Pakistani billionaire and his son just being crunched in that fucking submarine.
That haunted me. I was on vacation during that time and I was getting updates and I was like, how are they doing? And I'm like looking at my daughter going on rides and stuff. I'm like, I hope they're okay. Just like praying for them and thinking about farts in there. Like, imagine, like, yeah. We've been in a car cabin before, like a cabin of a truck or something, and you're just farting, and you're like, this is terrible.
They didn't even make it a mile under the ocean. They made it like 500 feet. If I was stranded 500 feet under the ocean and there were two Pakistanis in there and I knew there was a chance that I was going to die, I'd have to at least take out these Pakistanis before I'd be choking them. Like,
imagine it leaves
you gotta, like, you got to go, man. We might both go. You got to go first.
It's like saying we didn't even leave the dock yet. Yeah. You're just killing the Pakistanis instantly.
Just mistakenly killing Pakistanis that I didn't have to. Damn it.
You're just rearranging their atoms.
Yeah. Right. So what do you think of Musk?
I like him, honestly. I don't lump him in with the rest of the tech overlord types. Mm-hmm. You know, because he has been.
I don't care about Musk at all. The guy's autistic. Okay, we're gonna skip. Should we?
Consistently based, even though he's had some missteps, obviously, with the H-1Bs and telling everybody to fuck themselves in the face over that. Mm-hmm. He has defended South Africa with the white genocide.
How are you going to let that one slide by where he wants to import more Indians? I mean, Elon Musk is pro the income gap. He wants to create a slave class of foreign workers to work at his Tesla plants just for his own benefit. We can't brush over that one so simply. What a stupid... Oh, I like him. Because he owns Twitter and he allows you to say edgy shit on the internet? Just because he's a platform doesn't mean you have to suck his dick, okay? It's not like I'm a fan of Neil Mahan by any means.
there. He's basically said he supports ethnic nationalism in Europe. And I just love the idea of wanting to go to Mars and being excited about the future. I think that's like it's like a Faustian, like white, Aryan kind of urge.
We really need to stop focusing on leaving this planet. We need to enrich Americans. Let's stop fantasizing about going to different places in order to abandon our problems on Earth. There is no manifest destiny in our lifetime outside of Earth, okay? We have problems to fix right here. Stop caring about millionaires' fantasies about going to space. It doesn't benefit you as an individual.
But at the same time, he is like a liberal Redditor. So there's like this tension with him. What he did with Twitter is like the single biggest transformation in politics, even bigger than Trump, like getting everybody back on Twitter with no censorship. I really am like a technological determinist. That's bigger than anything political. You know, what changes with technology is what determines the future. And so for him to liberate Twitter, I think is going to be, when we look back in history, it's going to be one of the most important things that happened, period.
Well said. You like Rogan?
He's all right. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan.
I think we owe him for getting us through the COVID stuff. I think he was pretty. I know he's kind of being a, gated community liberal, saying that it's just everybody's everybody. I think we definitely owe him for getting us through some of that time there.
Secrets of the Millionaire Mindset presents Get Rich Quick. All this.
I never watched Rogan. We're skipping the fake advertisement.
Back in the day, back in the good days, how do you deal with that? What's something that you would recommend when it comes to sort of naturally growing away from your friends? I'm glad Charles is back. Glad you.
All right, this is kind of important, actually.
Hey, Sam. Extreme Peace was sick. I'm glad Charles is back. Glad you guys patched it up. I guess a question that I could leave for you is, when you drift away from some of your friends back in the day, back in the good days, how do you deal with that? What's something that you would recommend when it comes to sort of naturally growing away from your friends? It's something that I've dealt with as I've sort of climbed through my 20s. I have a lot of friends, or I had a lot of friends in high school that I just do not keep up with anymore. Their lives are like totally alien landscapes, where they're like living at home with an $800 Duramax payment, and they work as like a paralegal. Anyway, thanks, man.
Actually, an $800 a month Duramax payment, that sounds more badass. I want to connect with that guy.
We have his number.
You're saying your friend's a paralegal who's got a badass truck? I want to connect with that guy. What's the deal, man? Have your friend call in the show. What's going on with that? Also, turn the bass down on your phone. Do you have friends?
Yeah.
How many friends do you have?
That's a really funny question. This line of rhetoric is going to be retarded. Let's stop promoting friendship. Let's not have men create groups together. Let's become loners. So Sam, Nick Fuentes wants you to abandon women and focus on him. Sam Hyde wants you to abandon men and have no friends. Who are you going to rely on? Yourself, and be an isolated loser the rest of your life? That is not a strong position to keep yourself in. We need to be building connections with our neighbors, with our family. We need to be loving women and creating new families and branching out and becoming larger groups. It's through our support and our support systems and our interconnected communities we can really develop strength. It's not through isolationism. It's not what we should do on an individual level.
A handful.
Thousands?
Thousands, millions, yeah.
And that's a real funny question to be asking Nick, too, because Nick has no friends. He's isolated himself completely. All of his confidants are untrustworthy. They're idiots. He just surrounds himself with high-class people in order to bolster his position and doesn't care about anyone in his life. And yet Sam Hyde is going to be kind of ballsy enough to ask him, do you have friends? That's funny.
I don't think you're not gonna have friends, man. I'm sorry.
Watch his face here. We're going back. We're gonna full screen this. Watch Nick's face.
Connect with that guy. What's the deal, man? Have your friend call in the show. What's going on with that? Also, turn the bass down on your phone. Do you have friends?
Yeah.
How many friends do you have?
Oh, like a handful. Not
Thousands?
a ton. Thousands, millions, yeah.
I don't think you're not gonna have friends, man. I'm sorry.
What a flat face. He's so sad by that breakdown. It's the first actual pushback that Sam has given in order to start bolstering his own line of rhetoric. That, yeah, we can't have women, but we also can't have any male friends in our life. We have to be alone.
Sorry.
And Nick can't even handle it. He's like, man, I don't want to be put in that position. A lot of people have been questioning whether or not I have friends, whether or not I'm a loner. Don't tell everyone that I'm actually am a loner loser.
Just not something that's going to happen for you. If there's a phase change in your life and you start doing something differently, and this doesn't happen anywhere more strongly than when you venture out of, when you leave high school. Is this a young guy? That's what happens. People drift apart. You don't have the same, once you start to become a human being and you have a different alignment or different goals than somebody else, that's just what happens naturally.
No, that's not what should happen. I guess it does happen in a lot of situations. You're not expected to have every single friend you've had throughout your life. People do drift apart, but I still have friends from high school. I still know people who have similar interests as me. And that doesn't hold you back from developing new friends, but it's good to have a long-lasting base, honestly. That helps you bolster your small community. I mean, how do you expect people to understand this rhetoric when they live in small towns? What if your population of your town is under 500 and the limited friend group you have is going to be the boys you're with the rest of your life? Okay? You can't promote isolationism all around America. This is stupid. This is a stupid mindset that comes from living in a big city. And it's I don't know, it's weird to say, but it's privileged mindset.
And you got to find new people. But I would say for a young man, it's more important what you are pursuing and focusing your time on than the people that you surround yourself by. You can always hang on to people who are worth it. It's not that big of a chore to pick up the damn phone and call your friend. He's got a badass truck. He needs your help paying for it. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in male friendship. I think it's one of the most important things. But I think that it's important that it's predicated on common goals. I think that a lot of friendship is nonsense.
That is kind of true. And it's very funny to see that he's completely backhanded Sam Hyde's point. Sam Hyde has only made one real big stance so far, saying that you should not maintain your friend groups. Which is a weird one, honestly. And Nick instantly says, I actually believe in the strength of male friend groups, which is a good position to have. That makes a lot of sense. You should be bonding with other men and developing like-minded ideals. And it's true. The best way to have a long-standing group is to have everyone have shared goals. It makes sense. This is a strong point from Nick, honestly. I can't even fault him on it.
It's like people like to go out and have a good time. You have a good time, Charlie. If it revolves around gambling or sports or drinking, I think that's useless.
That good time, listen, man. If you have a friend and your friendship is you drink together, go get in a car accident, super fast. Go get a motorcycle. Do I have to explain this 50,000 times and have 200 million comments? Oh, Sam doesn't like social as friends. He's not a cool guy. You're fucking broke. You're so broke. If you're a young man, the thing that you have to understand is the value graph for women and men, it's the opposite, okay? When a woman is 18, when she's fertile, when she's becoming when she's a hot woman, that's when they have peak value.
Okay, let's go back.
When a woman is 18, when she's fertile, when she's becoming when she's a hot woman, that's when they have peak value.
One more time. Let's hear him say this one more time. This is disgusting.
Opposite, okay? When a woman is 18, when she's fertile, when she's becoming like when she's a hot woman, that's when they have peak value. And it goes.
Who says that? That's not even true. There's complications when you have a pregnancy at an early age, okay? Women are not at peak value at 18. Have you ever actually talked to an 18-year-old girl? They're retarded, okay? Think about your sister. Was your sister smart when she was 18? Was she a worthwhile conversation? Was she going to be productive around a household and be able to raise children? Peak value does not mean that they can pump out kids. And that's not even the period of peak fertility. Women are born with millions of eggs. And yes, they shed them every single ovulation cycle. I think it's a large, I don't remember the exact percentage, but was like they say half is gone by 18. But that's millions, okay? And they're going to be shedding eggs until they reach menopause. That's until their 40s. They're in a large reproductive window, okay? And if your only value for women is literally the ability to pump out children, you're fine. You don't have to bag a teenager, which is just such a weird thing for you to say when people are bringing up the Markey situation again. Why are you, as a 40-year-old man, bragging about the reproductive fertility of an 18-year-old? It's disgusting. It's not really good to do. It doesn't look good for you in particular. And it's not something anyone should ever be caught dead saying ever. It's weird.
Goes down. You don't have skills, you don't have a network, you don't even know how to do anything. In your head, you're step one, like, what should I do? Oh, I should send my resume, my non-existent resume, to jobs and go to college so I can learn to color in the lines. The average 18-year-old man is like a maggot. They have nothing. They've spent their entire time doing nothing, and then it's your job to like build your way up. That's your.
Then why do you think that the then 18-year-old girl is at peak? Her value peaks there, and then it's all downhill. That's retarded. What a small and disgusting window to think. No, women are never going to join this movement when you keep saying these kind of stupid things. It doesn't inspire women to want to participate in conservative politics. It's just regressive, honestly.
Your job is to establish yourself as like a secure, like a thing that can exist in the world without.
Your job is to be a loser bum. No, he's just trying to reach out to all of these all of these lost boys who don't have inheritance, whose parents abandoned them. They don't have any siblings. They're loser incels. And he's saying that your job is to struggle at a young age. That's really not the case. If that is your situation, that's what you have to deal with. But that isn't the default position that we honestly should be in. We should be forming families that are strong, that we give inheritances to our children, and we help them have an easier life than we had to participate through. This is the rhetoric that should be espoused, that you should bolster your children and the next generation, not that you have to live like an isolated loser, because that's the pull yourself up by your bootstraps rhetoric that old boomers have, and is the reason why so many people are broke and destitute at an early age. You have to start from zero, is because dumb old retards like Sam believe this nonsense where you better start from zero and then build up from there. Otherwise, you lack value and character. That's not true. We should be supporting nepotism within our groups and our communities, making sure our children have as easy upcoming as possible so that they are in a good position to then grow and develop.
Support without your parents, without your little network, without your faggot bros who are like alcoholics, who are actual young like alcoholics. 20s is tough because you're all that stuff is shifting, and the losers are they're on their way to becoming losers, and the people who want to do something, they're thinking about what they want to do, so it's a hard time, but I would just say ignore it. One of my favorite things, certainly my top 3, is just being in the office and like talking to the guys I work with, but we're here because we've like self-selected for this goal that we have. It's not the same thing as like growing out of your town. Anyway, next call here.
Hey Sam, just wanted to say thanks for saying weed's gay. That shit is trash. Everybody who's smoking weed needs to stop. It needs to be made completely illegal again. Thanks for...
I don't even know if I want to continue on going any further. This one is pretty obvious what he's going to say. Weed is gay. That's fine. It's whatever. And the very last call that he has is asking about an artist who struggles with developing inspiration, which is fair enough. I think if you really want to hear Sam Hyde's point, just make an account on MDE.TV and just watch it. Essentially what he says is that inspiration is gay and that you should be working your creative endeavors as if it was a 9-to-5 job, that you have to nose to the grindstone it and not focus on getting these points of inspiration to bring you back into creative work, which I think is a pretty strong message, honestly. You do have to just grindstone your creativity and then build it as a skill, because inspiration is the marks of talent, right? Those are the callings that make you want to drive into a creative art form. But you cannot rely on talent. You have to develop an artistic skill. And that's through the grind set mentality that Sam has. It makes sense. It's honestly a positive message. If you don't have inspiration, work anyways, and then perhaps you'll develop your inspiration through those points of failure, or at least develop your hand so you can do your art better. Other than that, it's pretty much done. After I heard Sam say that the peak value of a woman is at 18, I was completely just checked out. I really didn't give a shit. This whole thing is so subversive, so disgusting, and I can't believe they hid it behind the website. It was as if they deliberately showed the best of Sam for the YouTube presentation just so he can pull in the extra weirdo people with this intense rhetoric, which sounds very attractive if you don't give it a thought. If you're in a bad position and you're resentful against women and family and the government, it makes sense to hate veterans, your mother. They're easy targets to point blame at. But in reality, the real issue is just that these young, sad losers are falling for the wrong people. These people are not, if anyone is not invoking inspiration, it's these two. This crew is just there to demotivate you and make you hate yourself, hate your calling, hate your wife, and hate your family. It's not healthy. It's not what we need as a culture. And for these people to be the icons of right-wing conservatism, of like alternative right-wing politics, is the death of the movement. This cannot be a thing that they spread far and wide. It's disgusting. That's pretty much everything. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night now.